Global evolution. I transplanted the heart of the Supreme God. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 401. My strength has improved even more. Bai Pu chopped off Kang Zhou with a knife, which directly led to the collapse and escape of the group of velociraptors. Bai Pu did not pursue him. He stuffed Kang Zhou's body into the storage space and ordered the Demeter Dragon servant to continue moving forward. The Demeter Dragon's feelings towards Bai Pu now are not only the submission of being enslaved by pure blood, but also the awe of the strong and the secret joy of having a backer. This is not speculation, but Bai Pu's feeling of the Demeter Dragon through the induction of pure blood. The external manifestation is that the frequency of this guy shaking his tail has become a few points faster, and the tail hits the giant fern bushes with a crackling sound, and a satisfied hum comes from his deep nostrils. Yuan Iu and Yabe are completely numb to Bai Pu's performance. Taming the Demeter Dragon and killing the leader of the velociraptors in one knife. They are all facing leader-level dinosaurs, whose main combat attributes are even close to the existence of the Lord. It seems that this time, we can also hug the thigh. Yuan Iu whispered. Yabe's blue-white eyes stared at a distance. That was the place where he first discovered the others lurking. Where are those people? Yuan Iu came to her senses. They haven't shown up yet. I guess they are the ones who don't get along well with Gangson. Yabe nodded. They have been refusing to show up. I guess that's it. After Bai Pu left, a group of people stood up in the giant fern. The leader was Haoshin. Haoshin, now I know why this person can win the championship. The young man said with some emotion. His strength seems to be stronger than during the championship. Did he upgrade again? Another person asked. Haoshin nodded and said, he should have reached level 6. He was only level 5 during the competition. This is even more difficult. This person is probably the biggest obstacle for us to seize this junction. It's a pity that the Velociraptor leader is not a big threat to him, otherwise we could take advantage of him fighting with the dinosaurs and drive him out of this junction. Yes, before the junction recognizes its master, each awakener has only one chance to enter. If we eliminate this competitor, our chances will be much greater. Haoshin shook his head and said, it doesn't matter. I really want to compete with him again. Although he has reached level 6 and his level has caught up with me, but I have also experienced the test of the professional plane and my strength has improved even more. Haoshin can now be promoted to level 7 at any time and step into the level of advanced awakeners, but after hearing the news about the intermediate junction, he temporarily suppressed his strength and did not choose to be promoted. After entering the interior of the junction, there will be no obstacles to being promoted to level 7. In other words, Haoshin can burst out the latest and strongest combat power at any time. That's right. Brother Haoshin's current strength has long surpassed that of Gangson. The progress of the professional plane is not something that can be achieved by ordinary planes. If I run into that arrogant Gangson again, he will definitely know the value of the Zijin twins. The flattery around him made Haoshin slightly curl up his lips. After passing the area with lush giant ferns on the periphery, the vegetation in front became short, gradually changing from green to iron-gray, like the embers after a raging fire. The plants here have evolved to be resistant to high temperatures and heat. Influenced by the rich spiritual particles here, their essence as plants has undergone subtle changes and has evolved into mutant demon plants. Bai Pu jumped off the back of the double-sailed dragon, squatted on the ground, and stretched out his hand to gently pull a thin vine growing close to the ground. The thin vine was black and gray all over, and looked like a discarded thin iron wire. Bai Pu stretched out his hand and pulled it. The thin vine deformed slightly, but it was not broken, which was enough to prove that its toughness had exceeded the scope of ordinary plants. The main body of the scorching mountain is in front of us. We can already see it. My goodness, this is clearly a volcano. Yuan Iu shouted. The psychic camera intelligently named the scorching mountain in front of us Giant Fern Volcano. The mountain is 100 meters high and has a flat top. It looks like an invisible axe that cuts the top of the mountain horizontally. The mountain is black and red. The black is solidified magma, with strands of red cracks, and the red is semi-solidified lava. Where are the coordinates of Anvil? Bai Pu asked. The location where Anvil was teleported in was actually the closest to the Giant Fern Volcano. So after Bai Pu confirmed that the gathering place was the giant fern mountains, he was the first to arrive at the mountain to wait for the arrival of the large group. It's 40 degrees northwest of us, about 10 kilometers. Yuan Yu confirmed and said. This direction, this distance, is the interior of the giant fern volcano. Bai Pu was slightly surprised and looked up at the black and red giant fern volcano. Isn't Tizhen too brave to go in alone? Contact him and ask him about the passage to the interior of the giant fern volcano. I suspect that the control authority of the border is hidden inside the volcano. Yuan Yu dialed the number of Tizhen's psychic camera and tried to talk to him. Beep. The psychic camera projected a virtual light screen and the video call was connected. However, the person who appeared on the other end was not Tizhen, but a middle-aged foreigner with a big beard and blonde hair and blue eyes. Who are you? This is my teammate's psychic camera. How did it fall into your hands? Yuan Yu asked. The foreigner opened his mouth and uttered a long paragraph of foreign language. Fortunately, the psychic camera has the function of simultaneous interpretation. The foreign language of the foreigner was translated into Chinese, and even the tone was imitated intelligently, vividly. Go away, yellow monkey. This is the border of the European Union. You are not welcome. White pig. Yuan Yu raised her middle finger. Where is my teammate? If you dare to hurt a hair on him, the Chinese Special Service Bureau will not let you go. This group of foreign awakeners laughed, and the leader, the bearded foreigner, made an obscene gesture to Yuan Yu. Yuan Yu's bear was even more angry. No need to talk nonsense with him. Bai Pu said lightly. Anvil did not send a warning message. It should be a surprise attack, subdued in an instant, and now it falls into their hands. For this group of kidnappers, we should talk to them with a knife. Bai Pu did not mention another possibility, that is, the possibility that Anvil had been killed, but used the milder word subdued. As for Anvil escaping back to reality, it is unlikely. If he had time to escape, the psychic camera should not have fallen. Yuan Yu nodded heavily. The three of them sped up and advanced into the giant fern volcano at high speed. After learning the bad news that Tizhen was captured, Zuzu and Yuan Tang also sped up their journey. However, they did not have Bai Pu's ability to tame the demon dragon mount. If they relied on their own legs to travel, it would take about another hour. Chapter 402. I've long wanted to compete with you again. The Deteran ran all the way and finally arrived at the bottom of the giant fern volcano. This mountain is not steep, and the main part is inclined at 30 to 40 degrees. The ground is all hot gravel, and there is very little vegetation. The Deteran's big feet move back and forth on the ground restlessly. Obviously, the scalding degree of the ground made it a little uncomfortable. Every few seconds, a slight burn of -1 would appear. Of course, this burn is nothing to the Deteran, and its health naturally recovers much faster than this. Golden Heart, Steel Heart, this is the command center. Instructor Xiang's voice sounded. According to the aerial photography, the giant fern volcano you are in now has a very deep passage directly above it, which should lead to the interior of the volcano. The group of foreigners who kidnapped Iron Anvil are taking measurements at the entrance of the passage. How is Iron Anvil now? Is his life in danger? Yuan Yu asked. It seems that he is in a coma now and has been injected with some kind of drug. Instructor Xiang said, the group of foreigners should want to use Iron Anvil's life safety to threaten. Got it, I'll go there now. Bai Pu said calmly. One last reminder, this volcano is currently in an active state that may erupt at any time. You have to be careful. Instructor Xiang ended the communication. Gangson, please, you must rescue Tizhen. Yuan Yu held Bai Pu's palms with both hands. Yubei also looked over, with the same pleading look in his eyes. Bai Pu felt the comradeship of the two for Tizhen. Tizhen and the two of them have been colleagues and teammates for several years, and their relationship is very deep. Bai Pu nodded slightly. Yubei, use your detection ability to observe carefully, and let's discuss how to save people. On the top platform of the giant fern volcano, there is a winding and deep cave that leads directly to the bottom of the volcano. There is still a wisp of hot mist at the entrance of the cave. 4 foreign awakeners surrounded the entrance of the cave, and Tizhen was lying next to them. One of them was a young man wearing glasses and with a pale face. He was operating his personal watch. The virtual light screen showed the shooting scene deep in the cave. Boom, a large area of red flashed on the virtual light screen, and then the screen was pitch black. Fuck, we lost another detection robot. The young man with the glasses cursed in frustration. Old fish, Don't be so stingy. I'll give you materials for 10 robots later. The bearded man in the lead laughed. Boss Weber, you don't know that the other components of the detection robot are easy to make, but the core is very precious. I have to spend a lot of spiritual energy points to make it, and it depends on luck. The young man with the glasses, old fish, said that. Although he said so, he still took out another mechanical ball and threw it into the cave. After the mechanical ball landed, it quickly stretched out 8 legs like a spider. After a series of transformations, it rammed to the depths of the cave with a click. After a while. Great! We finally found the bottom. Wow, it turns out that the bottom of the volcano is a natural underground palace. Lao Yu shouted excitedly. The psychic particles detected by the detection robot are extremely enriched, 3.25 times that of here. I bet that the control authority of this junction is hidden in the natural underground palace. There are no other risks except for the sporadic magma along the way. Let's go, take this prisoner. The bearded man named Weber had not finished a sentence when his face suddenly changed. He felt the heavy footsteps and the ground was shaking slightly. What's the situation? A large dinosaur is rushing towards us. The awakened person in charge of spreading the news looked cautious, but his tone was not panicked. Boss, it's just a leader-level Demetritus. The Demetritus should not appear here unless something drives it here. Weber stood up suddenly. Get ready for battle. The Demetritus spewed hot air and rushed forward. A burly awakener holding a shield stood in front of them very professionally, but was pulled away by Weber. Are you going to die? Weber shouted angrily. Even if you don't look at the digitized information, just looking at the momentum of the Demetri dragon's charge and its huge size, you can imagine the horror of this collision. I don't know how high the strength judgment is. Prisoners. The shield awakener was about to remind the prisoner will be trampled to death when he saw the Demetri dragon rushing through their center. The anvil, which was originally lying on the ground, disappeared on the spot. At this time, 2 people stood out from the 2 rows of giant fan blades of the Demetri dragon. They were Yabe and Yuan Liu. They used the Demetri dragon to take the lead and force the 4 foreigners to give in, and then they directly grabbed the anvil. Damn, it's the group of Chinese who talked to us before. They are here to rescue the prisoners. Weber slapped his thigh. He knew that he should have controlled the prisoners in his hands, so that he could at least take the initiative. Yabe was experienced. After seeing through everything with his blue-white eyes, he took off a piece of mechanical button device attached to the anvil and threw it far away. Boom! The landing point of the mechanical button exploded, and a cloud of dust rose up. Asshole! Yuan Yu and the young man with the glasses, Liao Yu, cursed at the same time. Weber was angry. Now even the ambush method was discovered. Both sides were completely on the same starting line. But the people who just talked to me don't seem to be these 2 people. Is there a third person? Weber just turned this thought, and suddenly his body sank, and a mighty blood river phantom rushed over. At the same time, on the outskirts of the giant fern mountain range, a passage shaded by ferns. Haoshin led his teammates to push aside the plants hidden at the entrance of the passage. One of the middle-aged awakeners closed his eyes, controlled a mechanical bird, and flapped his wings to fly into the passage. Safe. After a while, the middle-aged awakener opened his eyes. This is a naturally formed passage. The widest part is several feet wide, and the narrowest part can only allow 1 person to pass sideways. At the end of the passage, it leads to a natural underground palace with a magma pool inside. This must be an area with abnormal ground veins. Maybe the boundary stone is hidden. Haoshin was surprised. This passage does not require climbing mountains, and no one else has discovered it. We can sneak in quietly and claim the master directly after getting the boundary stone. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded not far away. Haoshin, long time no see. This passage is not yours. Haoshin heard the familiar voice, his face changed slightly, and he turned his head to look over. Feng He, with red hair, led the team. Feng He glanced at Haoshin. Are you going to fight here, or go in and find the boundary stone to fight again? Feng He's inclination was also very obvious when he said this. Normally, you have to find the boundary stone first, and then fight after you have a target. Haoshin laughed. Feng He, I have long wanted to compete with you again, let's do it. Chapter 403 Strengthening the Hero. Is that amazing? The top platform of the giant fern volcano. Under the wash of Bai Pu's blood river phantom, Weber, Lao Yu and others had a hard time. This is China's college champion. The bespectacled young man Lao Yu shouted, "Damn, he is an enhanced hero." In the psychic era, China is the most powerful and stable country on the entire earth. The reason is that the knights violated the law with force, and the awakened ones had the power and the desire to kill was born. Other countries advocate so-called freedom, but China values order the most. The Chinese government established the Secret Service Bureau to capture wanted criminals, and also spent a huge amount of psychic point funds to establish a special law enforcement brigade to provide backup support for the masters of the Secret Service Bureau. Each government has well continued the policies of the previous government and will not change its orders overnight. Over time, a good tradition of not solving problems with personal violence has been formed. Many awakened people in China, even if they have disputes with ordinary people, will take legal means to resolve them instead of resorting to force. Of course, under normal circumstances, awakened people and ordinary people rarely have intersections, and disputes are unlikely to occur. Even if there are disputes, the authorities take it very seriously and will let the disputes of awakened people be resolved through a fast track, unlike ordinary people's cases that have to wait for a long time. There are riots almost every day in foreign countries, but there are only one or two more vicious incidents in China occasionally. The awakened who committed the crime will be quickly found out and put on the wanted list, attracting the pursuit of the Secret Service and the awakened special forces. In reality, they are in a state of panic and can only hide in some border areas that shelter them. As the most powerful and stable country on Earth, China's various cultural exports, such as the college entrance examination system and the league system, have been imitated by other countries. However, other countries often only learn from this system in form, relying on one or two powerful figures to host it and maintain it for a few years. After the powerful figures lose power, they will fall into a chaotic situation of heroes competing for supremacy, and the good system cannot be implemented in a coherent manner. In this context, foreign countries naturally prefer to watch Chinese events that have been held stably and are very mature. Even the college competition has purchased the broadcasting rights in many countries, but the viewing rate is not very high. This young man with the glasses, Lao Yu, happened to be someone who had watched this year's Chinese College Championship. From Bai Pu's Blood River territory, he recognized at a glance that this was the champion of this year's Chinese College Championship. Among the Chinese intermediate awakeners, he is almost the undisputed number one. The bearded Weber roared, and his entire body was swirled by the phantom of the azure sea tide, forming a strong vortex. Bai Pu's Blood River collided head-on with the vortex, and part of the impact was offset, but most of the power was still there. The blue vortex was weakened by half. Strengthen the hero. Is it amazing? The bearded Weber pulled out a sea blue trident and raised it high. Suddenly, the intensity of the sea blue vortex increased significantly, and there was a tendency to compete with the Blood River territory. The vortex field of the awakener Weber is in confrontation with your Blood River territory, and the priority is being determined. The vortex field has received a bonus of the professional equipment, Seastone Halberd, priority +1, and the current overall priority is 8 points. In the overlapping part of the vortex field in the Blood River territory, the effect of the Blood River territory is reduced by 50%, and the effect of the vortex field is reduced by 50%. Bai Pu narrowed his eyes. The foreign awakener Weber in front of him was not simple in strength, perhaps even stronger than Haoshan and Feng Huo. Think about it, how could anyone who dares to fight for the borderland not have some skills? Weber's three teammates all took action tacitly. Their goal was to focus on Bai Pu. This choice could not be said to be wrong, because Bai Pu was an MT with a large-scale continuous control skill. Every extra second of survival on the battlefield could create considerable benefits. Even if the three knew that Bai Pu was very tough, they could only bite the bullet and attack. Otherwise, it would not be realistic to attack Yuanyu, Yubei and others under the deceleration of the Blood River territory, especially since both of them were long-range professions. One was shooting with 2 guns from a distance, and the other was throwing flying knives from a distance, and they could not catch up at all. The attacks of the three fell on Bai Pu and were blocked by a layer of shield that flashed blood light and looked like a mountain. Keep attacking and consume his energy. Once the energy is exhausted, his Blood River territory will be useless. The young man with the glasses, Lao Yu, encouraged his teammates, but he quietly retreated. Bai Pu didn't want to consume too much combat power at this time. Under his mental control, the double-sailed dragon had rubbed its hooves, lowered its head, and rushed forward angrily. Savage charge. The faces of several foreign awakeners changed. At this time, they had to withstand the deceleration of the Blood River territory, and their movement speed dropped by more than 20 points. They were also restricted from using sprint-type displacement skills. How could they avoid a savage charge? In desperation, the awakener holding the heavy shield could only stand in front of the double-sail dragon. He was covered with a yellowish-brown light, and with a roar, he smashed the heavy shield into the ground. The whole person seemed to have turned into a mountain, connected to the earth. The other people hid behind the heavy shield awakener, including the bearded Weber. Boom! With a loud bang, the heavy shield awakener flew backwards and coughed up blood in the air. The Dieterlian savage charge, when it was at full speed, had a power rating of 215 points. Such a terrible power-crushing rating was completely unreasonable, and had reached the point where the attribute crushed the skill. However, the heavy shield awakener finally completed his mission, causing the Dieterlian's charge speed to slow down, thus blocking the collision. The bearded Weber waved his trident, suddenly projected it, and landed on the Dieterlian side. A bloody hole was forcibly chiseled out on the Dieterlian's body. But at this time, Bai Pu had already stepped forward, raised his sword, and unfang slashed twice. With the cooperation of Yuan Yabe, Bai Pu killed Weber's 2 teammates in 2 consecutive seconds, including the heavy shield awakener who flew out. They all prepared forced escape props, and escaped from this junction a second before they felt the crisis of death. The young man with the glasses, Lao Yu, had already retreated behind everyone, and had already fled 7 or 8 feet away. Big Beard Weber shouted angrily, "Old fish!" The answer was from the enraged Emetosaurus, which raised its 2 huge hooves as big as bathtubs. Trampling. With a loud bang, Big Beard Weber's body lightened, and he was blown up like a cloud, and fell into a floating state. The bloodlight shield around Bai Pu had condensed into long blood-colored sword energy. As Bai Pu waved his hands, the blood-colored sword energy slashed out and filled Big Beard Weber's sight. "This is not fair." Big Beard Weber gritted his teeth and said the last sentence unwillingly, then turned into white light and disappeared in the border area. Chapter 404 Haoshin holding the protagonist's script. Big Beard Weber was not convinced. He was a well-known young master in the United States and Canada. In addition to understanding the secrets of the vortex, he also obtained the Sea Stone Halberd, a weapon with a high degree of professional compatibility, which could increase a little precious priority, almost equivalent to strengthening the hero profession. In the United States and Canada, Big Beard Weber also has a household name, Sea King. Sea King felt that he could not lose to Bai Pu in a fair fight. But the double-sail dragon that Bai Pu brought was too foul, which was equivalent to 2 against 1. The savage charge and trample of the double-sailed dragon were originally skills that could only be dodged and could not be resisted. But under the restrictions of Bai Pu's Blood River territory, except for the awakened ones with displacement spells such as Flash who could escape, others could not even use displacement skills. When the savage charge and trample could hit the target, the power was too terrifying. Sea King felt that if it were not for the trampling of the double-sailed dragon that knocked him away, he could only take the secret skills of Bai Pu, and he would definitely win in the end. He still had many tricks that he hadn't used yet. After dealing with the foreigners, Bai Pu checked the injuries of the Dimetrodon. It's not bad, after all, it's a special leader with 150 points of stamina. Bai Pu saw that although the wound on the Dimetrodon's side was terrible, it had stopped bleeding due to the muscle contraction of this big guy. Yuan Yabe began to check on Tizhan's condition and used the drop that could remove abnormal conditions on him. Tizhan is awake. Yuan Yu said happily. Tizhan opened his eyes with difficulty and looked at Bai Pu and several teammates. After the initial trance, he slowly breathed a sigh of relief. "I almost thought that I would definitely die here." In the outer area of the giant fern volcano, the battle between Haoshin and the Fenghero family team also came to an end. The winner was Haoshin. His level at this time had surprisingly been raised to level 7. Haoshin's body was wrapped in a layer of black ice armor, and his whole body exuded a black icy aura. Layers of black ice phantoms covered the entire field. How powerful is my Zhuan Shuang Dao Qi? Haoshin's face was full of the superior smile of a winner. "Feng Ho, I have played against your school many times, and Zhejiang University won almost every time, but that's just because you have a group of strong teammates. In fact, whether it is personal strength or professional positioning, I am not inferior to you." Feng Ho was slightly out of breath, leaning on the broad leaves of a fern, looking at Haoshin. "You have been to the professional plane?" Then why don't you upgrade to level 7 directly? Haha, if I upgrade to level 7 directly, can I still participate in this battle for the border? Haoshin smiled and said, I didn't upgrade at the beginning, just to compete with Gang Zin when I meet him again. Originally, this on-the-spot upgrade was prepared for Gang Zin, who knew that I met you first. But it doesn't make any difference anyway. Haoshin has played against Feng Ho, Qianyan and Zijing, the school teams of the two universities many times, but Zijing University has always won, and Haoshin has been holding back a lot of energy. Now the victory and defeat are reversed. Haoshin feels as happy as a liberated surf singing. I will also go to the professional plane. We will have another fight then. Feng Ho said calmly. In fact, Feng Ho still has the ability to fight to the death. His ultimate skill Burning Heart Starfall has not yet been activated. However, this is not a competition field after all, and there is no contract for competition. Activating the Burning Heart Starfall may not necessarily kill Haoshin, who is the MT. Instead, it will make him die with a high probability. Feng Ho felt that he could not fight Haoshin because he did not go to the professional plane to practice hard. Haoshin laughed and said, what do you think the professional plane is? You can break through by just punching a card and plating gold? Is the spirit world a charity? The professional plane is a real dangerous place, and it is only more difficult than the original Sin world. With your ability to explore the spirit world, you almost died in the original Sin world. Go to the professional plane. Feng Ho's eyes were cold. Whether I can pass the test of the professional plane has nothing to do with you. Since you won today, you can be as proud and arrogant as you want. However, don't think you can definitely get this junction. Don't forget, Steelheart is here too. Haha, I will defeat you first, and then defeat Steelheart, and the intermediate awakener stage will be truly complete. Haoshin smiled with satisfaction as if he was holding a script called Protagonist. Then wait and see. Feng Ho said no more nonsense. His figure gradually faded, and he left the border. Is this the reason why the group of foreigners attacked you? Looking at the black shiny stone in Tizhan's hand, Bai Pu and the other two were very curious. Are you an outsider? Tizhan held the ore and couldn't let it go. This is Phoenix Dragonstone. It is said that it is a long-term habitat for large fantasy beasts, and only then will the associated mineral deposits contain mysterious and powerful psychic particles, which can be used to upgrade the base material of equipment. Upgrade the base material of equipment. This touched the knowledge blind spot of the three people again. Tizhan simply gave the three people a popular science. Are the gold equipment you obtained in the low-level plane the same as the gold equipment obtained in the intermediate plane? No. The three shook their heads at the same time. This involves the base material of the equipment. The gold equipment of the low-level plane is basically made of ordinary base materials, and the psychic particles contained are thin, so the attributes added by the equipment are few. Correspondingly, the equipment requirements for psychic resonance are low. Anvil said, many of the gold equipment produced in the intermediate plane are made of rare base materials, the attributes added to the equipment are many, and the basic attributes required for the equipment are also high. When the awakener grows from low level to intermediate and advanced level, some of the early gold equipment on his body will inevitably be eliminated. But if you use the pyroclastic stone to upgrade, you don't have to eliminate it, and the original enhancement level will be retained. Bai Pu asked, can the pyroclastic stone only be used to upgrade gold equipment? That's not the case. It can also be used to upgrade blue equipment, but that would be too wasteful. Anvil said. Yuan Yu corrected speechlessly. Gongsun must mean to ask, can the pyroclastic stone be used to upgrade equipment of a higher grade than gold equipment? Well, you can upgrade green equipment, but it requires twice as many pyroclastic stones as gold equipment. Anvil thought for a moment, but dark gold equipment won't work. According to teacher Chili, you have to use Spirit Dragon Crystal, which is a precious treasure that only high-level spiritual worlds occasionally produce. Upgrade green equipment? Bai Pu's face moved. He thought of the Immortal King suit. The Immortal King suit requires only 20 basic attributes. It must be a suit of ordinary base materials, and the bonus attributes are not high. If it can be upgraded to a suit of rare base materials or even top-quality base materials, wouldn't it be able to be worn until graduation? There should have been several pieces of Spirit Dragonstones in the cluster of Spirit Dragonstones that were discovered. I was too excited when I found the Spirit Dragonstones, and I didn't guard against the outside world, so I was ambushed. Anvil said regretfully, I only got this piece of Spirit Dragonstones. The other spirit dragon stones must have been taken away by those foreigners. It's okay. If you meet them in the future, you have to make them spit them out. Yuan Yu comforted Anvil. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelists. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 405 Lava Lake. The four of them discussed and decided to go down the cave at the top of the volcano and explore the inside of the volcano. As for the Dimetrodon, this big guy was too big, so Bai Pu could only give it an order to find a place with lush vegetation nearby to rest and run away when encountering danger. I hope that the Dimetrodon can survive in this dangerous giant fern mountain range. Although it was just a mount that Bai Pu caught to lead the way, it was unexpectedly useful in actual combat. Bai Pu and his four companions entered the cave on the top of the mountain. The cave was winding, with some places having a gentle slope and some places being very steep and vertical. Occasionally, there were some cracks where magma flowed, flashing a breathtaking red light. Fortunately, Bai Pu and his four companions were all awakened, with extraordinary physical fitness. They went down the passage, either sliding or climbing, avoiding the magma cracks, and moving forward in an orderly manner. We're here. There's a natural underground palace below. There's a lot of magma, but some of it has solidified, so we should be able to settle down. Bai has been using the King Bai Eye to detect the situation below. I'll go down and try first. Bai Pu jumped down lightly. Even if there is danger, Bai Pu can use Gangbu to step on the air and jump up continuously. With a snap, Bai Pu landed on a black and red rock. This rock is obviously made of solidified magma. You are affected by the burning fire poison, and you receive 1 point of burning damage that ignores resistance every second. The burning fire poison will accumulate layers, and an additional layer will be accumulated every 10 minutes. Current layer. 1. Bai Pu repeated the situation in the voice channel of the psychic camera. The negative state of this burning fire poison is not bad when there are only 1 or 2 layers. Our health points can keep up with the automatic recovery speed. But once the number of layers is high, we can't bear it. Anvil said. It will take 10 minutes to stack to the second layer, and 20 minutes to stack to the third layer. We'll see what happens. After all, we're not children anymore. We're responsible for our own safety. If there's any danger, we'll use the escape props issued by the Bureau to escape. Yuan Yu said with a smile, don't learn from Tizhen. We were attacked by the enemy and didn't even have time to use the escape props. Choose Ioman. We agreed not to mention this. Tizhen said angrily. As he spoke, Tizhen and the other two jumped down. The ground was rugged, with naturally formed folds and gullies, ups and downs. The high places were all cooled and solidified magma boulders, which could accommodate 4 people. In the low-lying areas, there was also bubbling liquid magma. Especially close to the rock wall in front, there was a large magma lake. The flowing magma emitted hot mist, flashing a dark red light, which made people feel palpitating. This is different from the power of natural magma in the AD era. It is a magma pool at the junction of the dinosaur world with an intensity of more than 3.5. The magma here contains powerful psychic particles of the intermediate spiritual world, which can burn even the strongest awakeners to death. Go find it. I don't know what the strange object with the authority of the borderland looks like, said Tizhen. Gongsun, the strange objects with authority you are looking for are collectively called boundary stones. Boundary stones have a fatal attraction to monsters in the borderland, and are generally guarded by powerful monsters. Suddenly, the voice of Instructor Xiong came from the psychic camera. According to the strength assessment of psychic particles, the strongest place in this underground palace is the magma lake. I suspect that the boundary stone is hidden in the magma lake. Bai Pu and the other 3 looked at each other. The magma lake is so dangerous. Do we have to sneak in to find the boundary stone? Let me try. Bai Pu silently turned on the adaptive evolution, transformed into the molten body form that resists fire damage, and at the same time turned on the volcanic shield, and strode into the magma lake. Stepping into the magma lake, Bai Pu felt a burst of burning. You have entered the lake of underground fire, and you will take 100 points of scorching damage per second, which ignores resistance. Negative field effect. The speed at which the scorching fire poison accumulates on you is greatly increased, with 1 layer accumulated every 5 minutes. Your innate skill, Adaptive evolution, molten body, takes effect, reducing the fire damage you take per second to 50 points, and the speed at which the scorching fire poison accumulates is greatly slowed down, with one layer accumulated every 10 minutes. Due to the isolation of your ultimate skill, Volcano's Shield, the underground fire magma cannot directly erode your vulnerable parts. Bai Pu breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the ultimate skill he had comprehended was both offensive and defensive, and he could continuously inject Blood River fighting spirit to maintain the volcano's shield. As long as the shield was there, Bai Pu's eyes, mouth, nose and other vulnerable parts would not face the terrible burning of the underground fire magma. However, breathing was also difficult, so Bai Pu held his breath and slowly dived down. The magma lake was not deep, and Bai Pu walked at the bottom of the lake while searching around with his eyes. What he saw was a fiery world. Here, mental detection cannot be extended. The outward spiritual force filaments will bring burning pain, like a red-hot iron nail poking into the brain. Everything can only be seen with the eyes. Occasionally seeing a black and red block at the bottom, Bai Pu bent down to pick it up. You have obtained lava pyroxenite, unidentified grade. Wow, there is an additional suffix of lava. It looks better than ordinary pyroxenite. Bai Pu looked from a distance and found that there were many similar black and red block objects scattered at the bottom of the magma lake. It is roughly estimated that there are at least hundreds of them. Bai Pu continued to move forward and picked up the lava pyroxenite. Suddenly, Bai Pu's intuition sounded an alarm. A powerful threat emerged from the side. Bai Pu looked sideways and immediately broke out in a cold sweat. Just a few steps to the side, Bai Pu saw a terrifying vertical pupil. The vertical pupil was protected by a transparent crystal membrane. When blinking, Bai Pu could clearly see the expansion and contraction of the crystal membrane. This is a terrifying monster living at the bottom of the magma lake. Bai Pu tapped his foot directly, and the Gangbu secret was activated, like a bomb exploded. The liquid magma was shaken and rolled outward, and Bai Pu was ejected. The next second, a ghostly claw shadow swept across the place where Bai Pu had just stopped. Crash! Bai Pu broke through the surface of the magma lake and shouted, "Quickly disperse! A big guy is coming out." But before he finished speaking, Bai Pu saw the scene in the underground palace at this time, and he was slightly startled. At this time, a fierce battle was also going on in the hall of the underground palace. The three teammates of the Special Service Group 6 were fighting fiercely with a group of people. The leader of the enemy, who had been folding his arms, with a sneer of disdain on the corner of his mouth, was the former captain of the Cayenne University team, Haoshin. Haoshin did not take action directly, but several masters of the Haoshin family were fighting with several special agents. Chapter 406. Don't even think about it. Haoshin saw Bai Pu at a glance, his eyes lit up, and he laughed loudly. "Gangson. You finally showed up, come. Let's fight again." As he spoke, Haoshin had taken off his sword and shield, and the long sword in his right hand slashed out diagonally. A black icy airflow condensed into a black ice ridge, which shot towards Bai Pu. This is the special effect of Haoshin's ultimate skill, Zuanshuang Thorn. It can be attached to ordinary attacks or thrown out remotely like a dart. It is a spell-like ability. Haoshin's own meditation expertise is average, and he can control the accuracy of Zuanshuang Thorn as freely as a professional spellcaster. However, Haoshin casts Zuanshuang Thorn silently, without chanting, and without casting time, which is an advantage. Bai Pu directly cast Gangbu in the air, a sonic boom sounded, and he instantly moved 7 or 8 meters away, avoiding the Zuanshuang Thorn and landing. The next second, an arrogant roar sounded in the underground palace. A large area of liquid magma gushed out of the magma lake, forming a gorgeous dark red vortex column. Along with the dark red vortex, a monster with wings spread out and a golden body, as if formed by flowing lava, soared into the sky. The black frost thorn landed on the body of the two-winged monster, and only condensed into a trace of ice flowers, and then was completely evaporated by the violent heat. This two-winged monster was the owner of the evil pupils that Bai Pu saw at the bottom of the magma lake. In an instant, several exploration skills fell on the two-winged monster, and Bai Pu was no exception. Lava Dragon, Enhanced Leader Level 6, Race, Ancient Dragon Elemental Abnormal, Attributes, Strength 120, Agility 80, Endurance 160, Spirit 40, Skill 1, World Power. Lava Dragon receives the power bonus of the Boundary Stone, gains an additional 6,000 health points, and reduces all damage taken by 180 points. Skill 2, Colossus, Lava Dragon provides 100 health points and 1 point of strength judgment bonus for every 1 point of endurance attribute. Skills 3-5, Breath of Flame, Hot Wind. The most eye-catching skill is World Power. Steel Heart, look at his throat. Yuan Yu shouted. At the throat of the lava dragon, you can see a colorful polyhedron. Every minute and every second, the color of the polyhedron is changing, like the surface of a soap bubble. This is the source of the skill World Power, the Boundary Stone. In the area where the spirit world and the real world intersect, a part of the beacon power from the spirit world plane will be stripped out and condensed into shape, which is the so-called Boundary Stone. The awakened person and the Boundary Stone resonate with psychic energy, and they can control the authority of this small space at the intersection. Before the awakened person arrives, some powerful natives or monsters may obtain the Boundary Stone in advance. They will temporarily become the focus of the world beacon power. As time goes by, their fit with the world beacon will become higher and higher, and the power of the world will also increase. Now the lava dragon only has the Boundary Stone embedded in its throat, which means that it has not yet completely merged with a Boundary Stone. It can only exert a small part of the power of the Boundary Stone, providing itself with life bonus and damage reduction effects. When it completely merges with a Boundary Stone, it may be able to complete the double breakthrough of the template and level, that is, to become a powerful level 7 lord like the Gilded. The Special Service Team of Group 6 and the Haoshin family team have temporarily stopped fighting. The current situation is a three-way confrontation, and they don't know which side to attack. Obtaining the Boundary Stone is definitely the top priority, which means that the fight with a lava dragon is inevitable. But the fear is that when fighting with a lava dragon, the opponent will come over and backstab. So both teams have a few seconds of restraint. Bai Pu directly used the Honor Energy Potion, Lieutenant, and instantly replenished his professional energy that had lost more than half to 90%. Between his breaths, the professional energy in his body was running efficiently, and the recovery speed was greatly accelerated. It was the lava dragon that broke the silence. It didn't care about so much, and directly vibrated its wings and activated the instinct skill, Hot Wind. Does the wind have color? Bai Pu now saw the color of the wind. The red airflow gathered into a tornado, and with the wings of the lava dragon, it turned into a terrifying red storm, sweeping across the entire underground palace. The magma lake behind was also vibrated at a high frequency, setting off a wave of magma tide, flooding all areas of the underground palace. This attack of hot wind drove the power of the entire magma lake, and the power was incredible. Quick, hide in my Zhuanshuang field. Haoshin unfolded a layer of ice armor all over his body, and at the same time, a frosty breath spread, wrapping several companions in it. Bai Pu noticed that Haoshin's skills had changed a lot. In the past, the extreme ice-heavy armor and the frost field were pure white, but now they have become pure black. The aura emitted by the black ice armor and the black frost field is completely different from before. Bai Pu also unfolded the Blood River territory and activated the deformation at the same time, protecting several teammates in a small area. At the moment when the magma poured down, Bai Pu slashed with a slash containing the secret of Gangfeng, like a materialized Blood River fighting spirit, cutting the magma that was rushing towards him. Haoshin put up a shield, and the black ice shield extended greatly, turning into a hemispherical black ice barrier in the Zhuanshuang field, protecting all his companions. However, when the magma poured down, a figure suddenly flew out. It was Bai Pu. He took advantage of the lava dragon's hot wind to face the challenge and used the secret skill, Gangfeng Falling Blade. He was wrapped in the immune control of Gangfeng and rushed to the lava dragon, directly taking the boundary stone at its throat. Don't even think about it. Haoshin raised his hand and clenched it towards Bai Pu, launching a mind freeze. At this time, Haoshin's strength has improved a lot. The mind freeze actually has a dual control effect of mental and physical, forming a semi-materialized thin ice chain. Bai Pu felt a chill in his mind, and black ice chips appeared in front of him. The control immunity of strong wind body protection offsets the control effect of mind freeze. They have the same priority. According to the principle of restraint priority, the strong wind body protection with the description of immune to control still beats the control effect of mind freeze. The ice chain failed to penetrate the defense of the strong wind body protection, and only the mental interference of mind freeze slowed down Bai Pu's movements a little. The lava dragon stopped the hot air and suddenly flapped its wings to launch an air collision at Bai Pu. This is not a skill, but a move that the lava dragon has practiced countless times of hunting pterosaurs. Simple, efficient, and well-trained. Bai Pu finally experienced what it felt like to be hit head-on by a diaphanous dragon. The lava dragon's air collision was like a large passenger plane hitting a bird. Bai Pu's body flew backwards like a small stone, crashing into a corner of the hall of the underground palace, smashing countless lava fragments. Chapter 407 My performance is restricted everywhere. The lava dragon charged at full force, with a terrifying power rating of 280 points. Even Bai Pu was ruthlessly crushed. Bai Pu's eyes went dark. He resisted the dizziness, shook his head, and stood up. Fortunately, the power rating only affects the additional effects such as knockback and repulsion, and does not calculate the damage according to the power rating value. Otherwise, Bai Pu would have broken several bones after this attack. Haoshin is also staring at me. It's really not easy to seize the boundary stone in the chaos. We must get rid of Haoshin first. Bai Pu glanced at Haoshin, with murderous intent in his eyes. Haoshin glared back and said coldly, "Gangsun, now is not the time for the championship." At that time, I was still concerned about the holy artifact auction, so I had to be polite to you. Now, in my eyes, you are no different from others. I never need you to be polite, because next time, I won't be polite to you either. Bai Pu replied coldly, and then selected the gene fragments of a Danish general for fusion. Bai Pu strode forward and rushed towards Hao Tian. Hao Tian held a sword and shield, wrapped in black ice armor, and attacked. Blood River Territory vs. Black Frost Field. The two clashed, and the Blood Phantom was evenly matched with a Black Ice Phantom, and both were reduced by 50%. Gang Xin, I am now a level 7 Awakener. In the professional plane, I have mastered the Black Frost Dao Key and obtained one crucial priority. Now I am competing in the field, I am not afraid of you. Hao Tian shouted angrily, thrusting his sword at Bai Pu, the sword tip wrapped in the power of black ice, extremely cold. Bai Pu raised his sword to block, stepped forward, and was blocked by Hao Tian's black ice shield. A strong wind blew in the air, and the lava dragon glided at high speed, with two huge claws grabbing in the direction of Bai Pu and Hao Tian. Bai Pu and Hao Tian could only put down their attacks and dodge backwards, leaving only the giant claws of the lava dragon on the lava ground, leaving two red burning scorch marks. Gongsun tried to snatch the boundary stone just now, and the lava dragon must have hated him. Now I just need to avoid him, and the lava dragon will keep chasing him. I'll take this opportunity to get rid of Gongsun's teammates first. Haoshin thought about it and came up with this good idea. But when he was actually implementing it, something unexpected happened. After Bai Pu dodged the lava dragon's claws, he ignored the lava dragon and rushed over directly, fighting Haoshin again in close combat. Haoshin shouted in his heart. The next second, a mighty stream of flames rushed over. The lava dragon cast another skill on Bai Pu, Flame Breath. This, Flame Breath, is not the dragon language magic of the fantasy world, but the instinctive skill of the mutant behemoth in the dinosaur world. The principle is that the crop under the lava dragon's jaw will secrete and store a large amount of pure high-energy liquid, which is a high-energy liquid fuel that is more flammable and explosive than gasoline. When the high-energy liquid spurted out from the lava dragon's mouth, it would first vaporize into mist, and then be ignited by the fire poison in the lava dragon's mouth, forming a cone-shaped violent flame. The lava dragon was aiming at Bai Pu. But the problem is that the range of this giant beast's skills is too large, and they are all group attacks. Haoshin, who was fighting with Bai Pu, had to bear it. Haoshin wanted to dodge, but he suddenly felt his wrist tighten, and was actually held tightly by Bai Pu. Are you crazy? Haoshin's eyes were full of disbelief. Bai Pu returned a meaningful smile. The two of them were bathed in the lava dragon's fiery breath at the same time. As an MT, Haoshin's first reaction was to stack armor and increase the output of Zhuanshuang Daoqi. The black ice armor instantly thickened by several inches. From a visual perspective, Haoshin's figure became a little bloated. Why don't you open the shield? Yes, when you explored the magma lake just now, the ultimate shield has been used. Haoshin was ecstatic. He didn't notice that Bai Pu's body was glowing with a dark red glow, and the breath of lava and fire was flowing. Bai Pu had switched to the molten body form, gaining 50% damage reduction. At the same time, Bai Pu also used the honorary life potion, Lieutenant, instantly restoring 800 health points. He wanted to pull Haoshin and be himself in the fire. Holding Haoshin's wrist with his left hand, With a strength judgment of up to 151 points, Haoshin couldn't break free from this iron-like hand. Bai Pu's right hand, however, raised the chainsaw sword. Haoshin's eyes shrank. No. Too late. The secret of collapsing mountains. The chainsaw sword slashed at Haoshin's black ice armor, and the shadow of the mountain collapse flashed by. Haoshin's black ice armor had a few cracks in the center, and then the cracks spread rapidly. No matter how Haoshin injected Zuanshuang Dao Qi, it was useless. The black ice armor instantly exploded into ice mist all over the sky, and then was evaporated by the heat of the flames. In the blazing flames, Haoshin's body quickly turned red. Haoshin screamed in pain and slammed his shield. With a loud bang, this shield slam broke Bai Pu and Haoshin's wrists apart, and the two were almost simultaneously shaken out of the area of the flames. Haoshin's skin was scorched, his eyes were tearing, and he could hardly see. Just exposed to the flames for 2 or 3 seconds, his health points evaporated by thousands. If he hadn't used his full strength to perform a shield slam, he would have been roasted into a mummy in a few seconds. Bai Pu spent more time in the flames, and there was no shield-type skills to protect him. At this time, Bai Pu's skin was also scorched and cracked, like a tired traveler who had trekked in the desert for months. But Bai Pu's situation was better than Haoshin's. Haoshin could only envy and hate this. Of course, he knew the reason. Bai Pu's evolutionary hard adaptive evolution talent skill made every tank extremely envious. Seeing Bai Pu rushing towards him again, Haoshin felt a chill on the back of his head. He rushed towards the lava dragon without thinking. He couldn't fight with Bai Pu anymore. This guy is good at taking advantage of favorable terrains. Even the hatred of the lava dragon has been taken into account by him. Perhaps he had just taken the initiative to pick the boundary stone at the throat of the lava dragon to arouse the hatred of the lava dragon, which was also a link that this guy had thought of in advance. Help me block Steelheart. Haoshin shouted to his teammates. In this high-temperature environment, my performance is limited everywhere. Don't fight with them, take the boundary stone first. A black ice road appeared under Haoshin's feet. He lowered his body and slid quickly, rushing towards the lava dragon. Bai Pu rushed towards Haoshin, but a dark black skeleton energy stretched out and hit Bai Pu. Fear spell. From one of Haoshin's teammates. Bai Pu used the evil spirit skill to solve it in seconds. Then, walls of bones appeared in front of Bai Pu. The skeletons and bone claws on the walls were biting and pulling, preventing Bai Pu from moving forward. Chapter 408 You Go. Bai Pu was blocked and could not catch up with Haoshin for a while. However, Bai Pu also had teammates. A phantom of a golden ribbon flew out, wrapped around Haoshin's ankle, and suddenly tightened. It was Yuan Yu who blocked it. Haoshin almost fell, and the ice road charge skill was naturally interrupted. Breaking free from the phantom of the golden ribbon, Haoshin suddenly jumped up and grabbed one of the molten wings of the lava dragon in the air. Boom! Anvil smashed out a flying hammer, and the lightning hammer shadow with a strong shock force hit Haoshin's forehead. Although Haoshin also used the release control, the timing of Anvil's attack was very clever, just when Haoshin jumped to the highest point and was ready to climb. This attack eventually caused the action to be interrupted, and Haoshin's fingers were only a few centimeters away, and he fell down helplessly. Several awakened people from the Haoshin family attacked Yuan Yu and Anvil one after another. They also found the difficulty of these special agents. Suddenly, Yabe took out a white, round object and threw it into the air. Instantly, the sword shadow flashed, and a small white flying sword passed through the space like teleportation and landed on an awakened person of the Haoshin family. Chi chi chi. Like a spring silkworm gnawing on mulberry leaves, the awakened person's body floated up in the rustling sound as fine as spring rain, and was stabbed by the white flying sword at high speed. The blood on the surface of the body quickly gushed out, forming a blood mist in the air, and then evaporated by the scorching environment of the underground palace. Sea-level gold prop, chaotic sky sword. Another burly awakened person of the Haoshin family changed his face, and hurriedly opened the shield and crashed into the teammate. The white flying sword seemed to randomly select a target to attack. When a new target appeared within the attack range, it flew over, and there was another chi-chi-chi sound. The burly awakened person seemed to be stupid, but in fact it was the only way to rescue his companions. He was attacked by the white flying sword, and his teammates naturally broke away from the floating state and had a chance to breathe. 3 awakened people from the Haoshin family rushed into the attack range of the white flying sword at the same time, and were stabbed frantically for a full 10 seconds. They finally survived, and everyone was injured but not dead. Yubei did not feel any heartache for using up the sea-level gold item. His goal had been achieved. Bai Pu gained nearly 10 seconds of unobstructed time. Almost at the same time, Bai Pu stepped on the strong wind, and Haoshin condensed the ice chain, while holding the lava dragon, and exerted force to land on the back of the lava dragon. Compared with the lava dragon, the two were like two mantises who overestimated their own abilities to hunt a giant eagle. Bai Pu stood on the back first, and when he saw Haoshin turning over, he raised his sword and chopped. Haoshin rolled on the hot back of the lava dragon, and Bai Pu's sword blade slashed into the scales on the back of the lava dragon. He kicked the sword blade with his foot, and the continuous slashes were all avoided by Haoshin in the way of a lazy donkey rolling, leaving only a series of sword marks on the back of the lava dragon. The lava dragon roared to the sky, flapped its wings and flew high, suddenly crashing into a solid lava pillar supporting the underground palace. Boom! The pillar broke, and lava balls fell from the dome. The people below had no time to fight and dodged. If they were hit by these lava balls, they would be skinned alive. The huge impact of the lava dragon's impact almost threw Bai Pu and Haotian out. Both of them tried hard to grab the protruding cracks of the lava dragon's keel to avoid falling. Steel heart. I'm afraid this place is going to collapse. Yuan Yu screamed. As the lava dragon flew around crazily, the load-bearing lava pillars in this underground palace space broke one by one. Lava balls fell one by one, accompanied by sand and dust. I don't know if it was an illusion. Bai Pu felt that the frequency of bubbles in the magma lake was rising, and the temperature around it was also rising sharply. The volcano is going to erupt. Bai Pu said loudly, "You go." As he spoke, Bai Pu held the lava dragon's skeleton with one hand, and held the big sword with the other hand, slashing at Haoshin fiercely. At this time, the dragon's back, with the lava dragon flying and colliding, could no longer maintain balance, and Haoshin naturally had no power to dodge. Bai Pu relied on the super-high swordsmanship expertise brought by gene fusion, plus the super-high strength judgment, but he could not completely maintain balance. Now the power of a single-handed slash is less than one-third of the usual power, and he can't even use the mountain collapse secret. Haoshin was hit by a sword, and then a second sword, and screamed in pain. He didn't care and directly activated the secret skill, Ice Wheel Dance. 6 black ice knives, medley strangled the surroundings. The power of the high-level Awakener's attack was indeed extraordinary. These 6 black ice knives were extremely sharp, and after cutting, they would leave fine ice spikes, causing further damage and severe bleeding effects. It should be a new special effect when the skill is upgraded to a high level. Bai Pu was hit twice, but it was not a big problem. Haoshin's ice dance was dancing aimlessly, and the lava dragon was obviously the most seriously injured. The lava dragon roared loudly, and the sound seemed to have some strange resonant frequency. The magma lake suddenly churned. The surrounding air also expanded to the extreme, and was extremely compressed in a small space. The consequence was naturally explosion. Boom. A loud noise came from afar. Blood Spider and Yuan Tang, who were rushing to the giant fern volcano, suddenly stopped and felt the ground shaking wildly. Look ahead! Yuan Tang screamed. The giant fern volcano erupted, and a red magma column shot straight into the sky, accompanied by thick smoke and rolling dust, a scene of doomsday disaster. Gangxin and the others are still in there. Blood Spider's little face was full of anxiety. The psychic camera didn't respond. It must have been damaged in the fierce battle. Yuan Tang frowned. Now we only know that there are Haoshin's family awakeners, a lava dragon, and Gangxin and others in the underground palace. But you don't have to worry too much. Gangxin and others have the forced escape props temporarily issued by the Bureau. The two waited until the earthquake was over and hurried to the area where the volcano erupted. The giant fern plants in front of them had been burned. The dinosaur tribes living in the giant fern mountains fled out one after another. Even the fierce carnivorous dinosaurs had no intention of stopping to attack when they saw Blood Spider and Yuan Tang. Among them was a rare double sail dragon that passed by Blood Spider and fled forward. Hiss. That's... Yuan Tang looked up at the sky and couldn't help but widen his eyes. Blood Spider looked up and was also stunned. Rolling magma columns, thick black smoke, a red lava dragon flew through the air, almost brushing against the magma column and rushing towards the Henggu plain in the distance. Did you see it clearly? Zhen Dao said, it seems that there are 2 small black spots on the dragon's body. I can't see it clearly. It seems that steel heart is on the back of the dragon. Blood Spider said softly. Chase? Chapter 409 Haoshin, where are you going? Blood Spider raised his hand towards the fleeing Dimetrodon, cast a dragon hunting mark, and sprinted at high speed in a short period of time, catching up with the Dimetrodon, grabbing the Dimetrodon's tail with one hand and flipping over. Jendao activated the transformation skill attached to his equipment, turning into golden leopard, with 4 claws blowing in the wind, and quickly following. It is worth mentioning that the Dimetrodon did not resist Blood Spider's riding too much, and even when Jendao got tired and slipped onto his back, he did not object. What made Blood Spider and Jendao even more surprised was that the direction in which the Dimetrodon was running was the direction in which the lava dragon flew away. Blood Spider and Jendao did not even need to correct the direction. I understand. That lava dragon must have a boundary stone on its body. The boundary stone has a strong attraction to the monsters at the border, so this Dimetrodon will follow it. Jendao expressed his speculation. But the other dinosaurs all fled in all directions and did not keep up with the lava dragon. Blood Spider said. Yuan Tang waved his hand and said confidently, it must be that the template is not enough. This Dimetrodon dragon is a leader-level template and is qualified to compete for the boundary stone. Other dinosaurs are not qualified. Blood Spider frowned and looked at a giant thunder dragon running away not far away. It was obviously also a creature above the leader level, and its running direction was completely different from that of the Dimetrodon dragon. Regarding Yuan Tang's speculation, Blood Spider shook his head to express his disbelief. Hangu Plain. Lava dragon gliding and diving. Bai Pu was on the back of the lava dragon, holding the root of the left wing tightly. Haoshin was in a more miserable situation. He was suppressed by Bai Pu all the time. He could only hide under the lava dragon and hold the lava dragon's thigh. During this process, whenever there was a chance, Bai Pu would swing his sword to chop Haoshin, and the latter cried out in pain. In other words, under the violent vibration, Bai Pu could not use the secret of collapsing mountains, otherwise Haoshin would have crashed long ago. Now, the lava dragon began to dive and glide downward, which was relatively stable. Facing the howling wind, Bai Pu finally gathered the secret of collapsing mountains. Boom! A sword with the phantom of a mountain collapsing slashed out and slashed at Haoshin's arm. Haoshin had no time to dodge. With a muffled sound, his arm was cut off, and the thick and powerful legs of the lava dragon were left with deep cracks, and the scales flew off. Haoshin screamed and fell diagonally with his broken arm. However, in the air, Haoshin's cloak quickly blew up, like a small parachute, which slowed down Haoshin's falling speed. After landing, Haoshin was carried by inertia and rolled on the ground for several times. He was covered with the grass and leaves, and was in a mess. The broken arm was even more painful. Looking up at the sky, the lava dragon had turned into a small red dot. Steel heart, Haoshin roared to the sky. He was still unwilling to give up and wanted to chase the direction where the lava dragon flew away. Hey, isn't this Haoshin? Amid the heavy stomping sound, Yuan Tang and Blood Spider rode on the double-sailed dragon and made a brilliant appearance. Yuan Tang smiled kindly. Haoshin, you need to rest well after being seriously injured. Where are you going? The Blood Spider didn't beat around the bush. It raised its crossbow and fired a crossbow arrow. Haoshin. Yuan Tang sighed. I wanted to use courtesy first and then force. No problem, let's fight. The back of the lava dragon. The sword just now scratched the thigh of the lava dragon. The big guy obviously knew that there was still an enemy on it. It started to fly in a fancy way, making various sudden stops and changes in the air, trying to throw Bai Pu away. The guy who is in the way has been driven away. It's time to deal with you. Bai Pu held the root of the lava dragon's flesh wing with one hand, raised the big sword with his right hand, aimed at the lava dragon's wing, and chopped it down with one sword. Hiss! The lava dragon's flesh wing membrane was cut open, and it instantly lost its balance in flight and fell diagonally forward. With a bang, the huge body of the lava dragon made an emergency landing on the ground, leaving a long gully in the wilderness of the Hangu Plain. Bai Pu was also thrown out by the huge inertia, and he was still holding a piece of the slender wing bone of the lava dragon tightly in his hand. This was not because of insufficient strength judgment that he was thrown out, but because the wing bone was dislocated and pulled out of the body by Bai Pu. Bai Pu rolled on the ground for more than 10 times, shook his head, turned over and climbed up. At this time, the lava dragon had also climbed up, vibrating its single wing, trying to take off. failed to take off. Bai Pu picked up the big sword and strode towards the lava dragon. Come on, I want to see, without the environment of the magma lake, without the ability to fly in the sky, how much strength do you have left? The lava dragon's vitality is very strong. Even if it loses the ability to fly and the environment bonus, it's more than 20,000 health points, fixed 200 points of damage reduction, and scales that look like solidified lava all over its body, still give it a strong survivability. However, Bai Pu has the secret of collapsing mountains, which is the most powerful secret of shield breaking and attacking ability. With a loud bang, in the illusion of a mountain collapse, the lava armor on the surface of the lava dragon exploded as if it was equipped with high explosives. The dark red muscle layer inside was revealed. This part lost the protection of the lava armor, and the armor was greatly reduced, with only a few dozen points left. Blood in the form of liquid magma flowed. The claw attack and collision of the lava dragon are both powerful hunting skills. With its strength judgment attribute of more than 200 points, as long as it is hit by one move, it will be blown away and fall into a long state of dizziness. In short, the damage is not that high, but the additional abnormal state is very annoying. Often, if you are hit once, you will inevitably be hit a second or third time. Bai Pu had suffered a loss a long time ago, and now he is determined not to be greedy for output. With a sharp eyesight brought by his powerful combat expertise, he always waits for the lava dragon to stiffen after the attack action, gives it a hard blow, and then quickly retreats to avoid it. As long as Bai Pu wants to hide, it is difficult for the lava dragon to hide him. After all, Bai Pu's agility at this time is also 66 points, which is not much lower than the 80 points of agility of the lava dragon. The huge size of the lava dragon brings a high strength bonus, but it will greatly weaken the agility advantage. The attack speed brought by its 80 points of agility is only equivalent to the speed of 30 to 40 points of agility of a humanoid creature. Bai Pu has no problem hiding. Even if it is an instinctive skill like fiery breath and hot wind, Bai Pu can completely avoid it by relying on Gangbu. The battle situation is a bit tense. The high HP and damage reduction of the lava dragon are against Bai Pu's blood river fighting spirit. It depends on which side can't hold on first. In order to make up for the output, Bai Pu also activated the active effect of Scorpion Tail Lion's Sting. Unfortunately, this output is only a drop in the bucket in front of the lava dragon's 180 points of fixed damage reduction. The gold level accessory of the Scorpion Tail Lion's Sting has gradually become outdated. Chapter 410 The Owner of Giant Fern Mountain. Bai Pu and the lava dragon fought fiercely for a long time, and finally a variable that broke the deadlock came. Under the call of Bai Pu's blood, the Dieter dragon servant ran all the way and finally arrived at the battlefield. In fact, Yuan Tang's inference was wrong. The Dieter dragon did not come for the boundary stone, but based on the call of the source bloodmaster. In the past, herbivorous dinosaurs like Dieter dragon did not dare to fight against ancient dragons like lava dragon. However, Bai Pu's pure blood gave it courage. With a powerful master, it dared to fight even the high and mighty ancient dragon. Boom! The Dieter dragon lowered its body and launched a savage charge. The amazing power made the lava dragon look sideways and collided with it. After a loud bang, the Dieter dragon's savage charge was stopped abruptly. After all, the strength judgment values of the two sides had a huge gap of hundreds of points. But the lava dragon was not having a good time either, and was knocked sideways. It is a flying species that flies high in the sky. It is not good at wrestling on the ground. Moreover, the broken left wing makes it difficult for its body to maintain balance. Due to various reasons, the lava dragon was knocked over by the treacherous. Bai Pu would not miss the opportunity. He charged his greatsword and slashed it once. Then he stepped forward to find the wind and slashed it for the second time. With the inertia of the greatsword, he jumped up in a spiral shape, rotated 360 degrees in the air, and slashed it for the third time. The third attack was a special effect of collapsing mountains. After a loud bang, a large piece of the solidified lava armor on the abdomen of the lava dragon was peeled off again. The lava dragon kicked with its strong and powerful legs and finally climbed up. It roared and swept its tail horizontally. The treacherous strode over and blocked the lava dragon's counterattack in advance with its huge body. With the treacherous, a large meat shield that also has the passive, giant, Bai Pu's output space has become visibly wider. Under normal circumstances, facing the lava dragon's tail sweep, Bai Pu would definitely have to use up his blood river Dao Ki to perform skills such as Gangbu, But now Bai Pu only needed to hide behind the double sail dragon. With a muffled bang, the lava dragon's tail sweep hit the double sail dragon's side. Both giants trembled, and the double sail dragon was shaken and slid out close to the ground. Bai Pu took advantage of the lava dragon's tail sweep stiffness and took 1, 2, and 3 steps. He jumped high along the lava dragon's long tail that it had no time to retract, and slashed down from top to bottom with a volley of swords wrapped in the secret of collapsing mountains. Clang! The lava dragon's threatening giant tail was cut off by Bai Pu. Now, the lava dragon lost another powerful counterattack weapon. It could only attack with its claws and teeth. With its pitiful speed, it was impossible to hit Bai Pu. With the cooperation of the double sail dragon, Bai Pu always found opportunities to efficiently reduce the lava dragon's health with one sword after another. 15,000, 13,000, 12,000. The life value of the lava dragon was gradually reduced to the last 3,000 points. The body of this giant beast was already modeled. The once majestic lava armor was now a tattered outfit of defeat. Dark red muscle fibers were exposed everywhere, and dark red blood was spilled. Bai Pu's last blow cut off the throat of the lava dragon. Finally, the neck of this huge beast was broken, and it lay on its side on the ground of the Henggu plain, declaring its death. Bai Pu breathed a sigh of relief. His condition at this time was still good, and his blood river fighting spirit was still 30% to 40% left. His life value even increased instead of falling, and recovered to 60%, which was more than 2,400 points. Of course, mental fatigue and physical exhaustion are inevitable. This time, Bai Pu had just finished the War of Annihilation in the Flesh Plague, the distorted world, and encountered the incident of the new border area in the wilderness area. He had almost no time to breathe in reality. Fortunately, he rested for several days in the Swedish royal palace, otherwise he would have been too tense and would definitely not be able to bear it. Fortunately, Bai Pu had the assistance of the Demeter dragon servants in this battle with the lava dragon, which saved him a lot of effort. My strength is still not strong enough. This lava dragon is only comparable to the high-level lord in terms of survivability. It is inferior in other aspects. I am still fighting so hard. Bai Pu reached out to take the colorful boundary stone at the throat of the lava dragon, and thought silently, "Hey, Ocean's strength has improved a lot this time. He actually lasted so long under my hands, and I suffered a little loss at one time. The professional plane can actually bring such a big change? For Ocean, it is probably a reborn improvement." Bai Pu thought that his experience value was still far from 100% of level 6. The next goal is also very clear. Continue to level up, and at the same time practice combat expertise, skills and mysteries, etc., to precipitate and accumulate. After being fully prepared, go to the professional plane and strive for another breakthrough. Even though the lava dragon has died, the reverse scales in the throat are still embedded in the boundary stone, unwilling to loosen. Bai Pu spent a lot of effort to dig out its reverse scales before getting the boundary stone. The boundary stone fell into Bai Pu's palm, emitting a colorful light. Bai Pu, following the experience of his predecessors, injected a trace of blood river fighting spirit into the boundary stone. 1 second, 2 seconds. After a full 10 seconds, the boundary stone gradually became illusory, turned into colorful light, and merged into Bai Pu's body. You have obtained the control authority of the junction, Giant Fern Mountain Plain. You become the first generation owner of Giant Fern Mountain Plain. In the Giant Fern Mountain Plain Junction, you have obtained the initial recognition of the world's power, and your strength has improved. Specifically, the basic all attributes plus 10, and the energy recovery speed is increased by an additional 10 points per second. After you gain further recognition from the world's power, the bonus you get in the Giant Fern Mountain Plain Junction will be further enhanced. You are not restricted by the level of the Giant Fern Mountain Plain Junction. No matter where you are, you can directly locate the Giant Fern Mountain Plain Junction and return here, priority 10. You can set permissions for outsiders in the Giant Fern Mountain Plain Junction, including admission, expulsion, and denial of access. You can build a space channel. Bai Pu read a series of prompts carefully. Energy recovery speed increases by 10 points per second. Bai Pu was shocked. Isn't this invincible? It's almost like unlimited mana. Skills can be cast at will. Even if you use all your strength to cast the secret of collapsing mountains, you can do it every 7 or 8 seconds. In comparison, basic all attributes plus 10 is not that important. Unfortunately, Bai Pu can only enjoy this bonus at the junction of Giant Fern Mountain. The so-called not subject to the level limit of the junction of Giant Fern Mountain means that Giant Fern Mountain, as an intermediate junction, can only accommodate awakeners of level 4 to 6. This is a level limit. Even if Bai Pu rises to level 7 in the future, he can return to Giant Fern Mountain and will not be rejected. Bai Pu read the description of the ladder. No matter where you are, you can directly locate the junction of Giant Fern Mountain and return here twice, and then he took a breath of cold air. Chapter 411, What happened to your Superstar Alliance? Isn't this unlimited return to the city? Why do awakeners flock to the identity of the elect? In addition to the guidance provided by the gods, a very important reason is that with the gods as a backer, they can ask the gods to force them to leave the spirit world when they encounter a dangerous situation where they must die. In the high-level spirit world, forced exit props are extremely rare, which further increases the value of the identity of the elect. Now, Bai Pu has his own border area, and he can return at any time, which is equivalent to enjoying the treatment of the elect without paying the price of the elect. Since the permissions of other awakeners can be designed, then drive them all out first. Now, this Giant Fern Mountain Plain border area is my private property. Bai Pu is a person who is unwilling to suffer losses. He immediately silently recited, "Show all awakeners in the Giant Fern Mountain Plain." Hangu Plain. The fight between Blood Spider, Yuantang and Haoshin is still going on. However, Yuantang was almost a half-outsider, just helping Blood Spider to scout the battle. The judge's pen in his hand would occasionally draw shimmering ink color, either giving Haoshin a negative state or providing a buff to Blood Spider. Yuantang was also a genius. As a hero profession spirit painter, he could not only cast spells remotely to assist teammates, but also overcome the weakness of spiritual specialty heroes who were not good at close combat, and practiced the unique close combat skills of using the judge's pen to press acupoints and impose abnormal states. He was a real all-rounder. If Yuantang really went all out and cooperated with Blood Spider, Haoshin would be sent back home soon. However, Yuantang felt that it was unnecessary. Anyway, he only needed to entangle Haoshin and prevent him from interfering with Steelheart from taking the boundary stone. So Yuantang just slacked off. The one who really got into a fight with Haoshin was Blood Spider. Last time in the college competition, Blood Spider was defeated by Haoshin, and he had been holding back a lot of energy in his heart. Since that battle, Blood Spider has been practicing hard, and even took the initiative to ask for the admonition of the Holy Thorn, imitation. She endured great pain, but in return, her strength improved by leaps and bounds. She has mastered the 2 ultimate sword skills in the biography of the floating world and void flow sword art. Now that she meets Haoshin again, of course she has to verify what she has learned. Haoshin is also in a bitter mood. He has returned from the professional plane, and his strength has soared higher than that of Blood Spider. If he is in his prime, he will definitely teach Blood Spider a lesson again and let her know the difference in strength. But Haoshin's condition is really too bad. Let's not talk about the consumption of the battle with Fenghe, just talk about the battle with Bai Pu in the underground palace. The consumption of Zhuanshuang Dao Qi is very terrifying. After all, it is in a high temperature and high heat environment. If you want to make ice skills have the same power, you have to consume extra Dao Qi energy. The Zhuanshuang armor was broken by Bai Pu, and the flames of the lava dragon breathed for 2 seconds, which made Haoshin lose nearly half of his life. Afterwards, Bai Pu cut off his arm, and Haotian's skills were reduced to 70% or 80%. Facing the Blood Spider in its prime, he was naturally suppressed. Fortunately, his priority was upgraded by 1 level, and as an MT, he was thick-skinned and strong, relying on a shield to defend but not attack, and he could barely maintain it. Suddenly, the actions of the Blood Spider, Yuantang and Haotian all paused. At the same time, they all received the message of the will of the spirit world. The control authority of the Giant Fern Mountain Plain has been obtained by the awakened. Based on the entry and exit rules of the junction, after someone obtains the control authority of the junction, your conditions for leaving the junction will automatically change, and you can leave the Giant Fern Mountain Plain at any time. Yuantang and the Blood Spider looked at each other. It should be Steelheart who got the control, right? Haotian was also suspicious in his heart. However, Haotian still had a 1% hope in his heart. That is, several awakened people of the Superstar Alliance discovered a battle between Bai Pu and the Lava Dragon in time and intercepted it. For Haoshin, if he failed to obtain this junction, then Bai Pu, as his competitor, would not be able to obtain it either, and he could only get a little psychological comfort. However, the next second, the reminder message from the will of the spirit world made his eyes go dark. The original owner of the junction of Giant Fern Mountain, Steelheart, has used the expulsion authority on you. Within 30 seconds, you will be expelled from the junction. Damn it. Although Haoshin was angry, he had no choice. He did not look at the expressions of Blood Spider and Yuan Tang at this time, shook his hands, and left the junction directly. Outside the junction, in the wilderness area, one after another, human figures condensed almost at the same time. These people were all awakened people expelled by Bai Pu. Among them were the exploration team of the Superstar Alliance, and Haoshin. Haoshin, you were also driven out. A Superstar Alliance awakened person wearing a mask said sinisterly. Dugu, what's wrong with you guys in the Superstar Alliance? Haoshin asked coldly. We had agreed on this before we entered. Why didn't your team come to join me after entering the border? If you were a little more powerful, I would never lose to Steelheart. The Superstar Alliance awakener named Dugu was also helpless, shaking his head and said, before the appearance of the lava dragon, no one could be sure that the boundary stone must be at the bottom of the giant fern volcano. I led the team to the ancient dragon tomb east of the Hanggu Plain, which is also a place with abundant psychic particles, and it may be the place where the boundary stone is hidden. Excuse. Haoshin swung his half-broken arm, in a very bad mood, and didn't want to listen to Dugu's explanation at all. Dugu, go back. Suddenly, a black figure, as if smudged by ink, appeared in the field. Lord Zilao. Dugu saluted respectfully. Haoshin took a step back, his expression stern. A+ level wanted criminal, demon hidden Zilao. Zilao smiled calmly and nodded at Haoshin. It seems that you still couldn't help yourself in the border area and stepped into level 7. Welcome to the world of high-level awakeners, Haoshin. I hope you are ready. Why are you here? Haoshin felt that the matter was not simple. This was a battle for the intermediate border area. How could a notorious high-level awakener from Zilao, who is also an A+ level wanted criminal, appear here? It seems that you can guess something, so there is no need for me to hide it. Zilao smiled and said, in addition to me, there are 2 official members of this Hexing Tower lying in ambush in this wilderness area. I believe you know our goal without me telling you. You are trying to get rid of Gangson. He is a serious threat to the Superstar Alliance. Haoshin asked hesitantly, why didn't you take action? Would you have the highest chance of winning if you took action before Gangson entered the border area? At that time, there were military troops around Gangson, and we had no chance to take action. Zilao explained softly, we know that the military troops will evacuate after sending Gangson to the border. So our plan is to wait for Gangson to come out and get rid of him here. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 412, Steelheart has become a climate. Get rid of Gangson here. Haoshin seemed to have heard a joke. Gangson has become the first-generation master of the junction. He holds the authority of the boundary stone. Will he stand here and let you kill him? Maybe Gangson has already set up a space channel and returned directly from the junction to Jiangnan Base City. To put it another way, even if he chooses to withdraw from the junction and appears in front of you, you can't kill him. Zilao said lightly, the premise of this ambush is that Gangson did not seize the control of the junction and appeared here as a loser. So, I just told Dugu to give up the siege and leave directly. After a pause, Zilao looked at Haoshin and said sarcastically, I can't understand why you, a level 7 master who has experienced the growth of the professional plane, can't beat Gangson? When we agreed at the beginning, you vowed to take the authority of this junction. Haoshin's face flushed a little, but he would not admit that he was worse than Gangson no matter what. Gangson was lucky this time. The initial location where the boundary stone appeared was a magma lake. The high-temperature environment there is not suitable for me to exert my strength. Besides, if your people listened to me, they would come to the giant fern volcano to meet me earlier and cut off Gangson's helpers. What would he have to compete with me? Humph, a bunch of idiots. Why are they going to the ancient dragon tomb? Zilao's face sank, and the air instantly became several degrees colder. Haoshin stopped talking suddenly. He remembered that the man in front of him was Zilao, who was known as the Hidden Devil, an absolute big devil. If he was annoyed, he would really dare to attack him. Zilao did not make a move, and said coldly, "Gangxin has become a force to be reckoned with. There is no way to target him in the wilderness area, unless... That's all. Let's go." Haoshin curled his lips at the backs of Zilao and his group, and muttered to himself, to be cautious when doing big things, to give up when a thing is dragged to the point where it cannot be solved. The Superstar Alliance is nothing more than that. Zilao and Dugu were also talking in secret. "Lord Zilao, Haoshin is too rude to you. Do you want your subordinates to teach him a lesson? This guy has clearly stepped into the threshold of a high-level awakener, but he still can't beat Gangxin, and even lost an arm. He is a complete fool." Dugu said sinisterly. "The alliance is in trouble now, and we can't make enemies everywhere. The Zhang family is still very powerful and can't be easily offended." Zilao was also holding back a lot of anger. If it were in the past, he would have killed Haoshin long ago. A+ level wanted criminals are not some modest gentlemen or good guys. Jiangnan District Party Committee Compound. Two old men sat opposite each other playing chess. They were Leader Qiao and Chief Nai. Two powerful figures whose stomping of their feet could cause a shock in the Jiangnan region. "Old Nai, how is it? Can the defense line of the buffer zone still hold up?" Leader Qiao asked after placing a move. "Judging from the current number of mutant beasts, there will be no problem within at least 24 hours. The military has already dispatched the remaining special operations battalions to defend with the help of fortifications." Commander Nai said, "The problem is that more and more mutant beasts are coming out of the southwestern jungle. When the number of mutant beasts is too large, it is possible for them to break through the defense line of the Special Operations Battalion and enter the base city. Have you figured out the reason?" Commander Nai replied, "According to investigation, it should be the prehistoric giant beasts that appeared at the border and are fighting for territory in the southwestern jungle. The mutant beasts in the southwestern jungle have lost their territory and are fleeing in groups, which has formed a continuous impact on the base city." Leader Qiao said seriously, "We must not let the mutant beast tide enter the base city and endanger the lives and safety of the people. Immediately mobilize the awakened people in the Jiangnan region to resist the beast tide together. When necessary, we old bones have to move around. If the beast tide can be controlled to a certain extent, it will be beneficial for training the awakened people in the Jiangnan region." Chief Nai said, "I have sent Yinghe to lead the Changfang Special Operations Brigade to escort the first team of Special Service Group 6 into the junction, hoping to seize control. I heard that many family forces have sent elite teams to enter the junction." Leader Qiao frowned and said, "It will be difficult to rely on the strength of a team of Special Service Group 6 alone. There is a special member in the first team of Group 6. Chief Nai said, "That's the Steelheart. Is it him? That's going to be a good show." Leader Qiao was cheered up. "This little guy is amazing, very amazing." Less than a year after awakening, he brought the honors of a college entrance examination champion and a college championship champion to the Jiangnan region. Although he is only level 5, he is an absolute genius. Chief Nai said, "During the college championship, Steelheart showed the strength of a ceiling-level intermediate awakener. It is said that he did not slack off after the competition. He has been training hard and even went to the spirit world. His strength has broken through again and has risen to level 6. Great. If Gangxin can take that border area, he can restrain the prehistoric beasts in the border area, so that they won't drift into the wilderness and trigger a beast tide." Leader Qiao said. At this moment, a beeping sound suddenly came from Chief Nai's personal watch. Chief Nai clicked on the message and took a look, then laughed, grabbed the message in the air and threw it to Leader Qiao. Leader Qiao received the message and took a look. Wow, surrounded by the Zhang family of Zhijing and foreign awakeners, he was able to pull out the teeth of the tiger and take the boundary stone. This little guy Gangxin is really a talent. The fine wrinkles on Leader Qiao's face were all relaxed by laughing. Before, Gangxin won various honors on behalf of the school. Now he has made great contributions to the Jiangnan region. Leader Qiao can't be stingy anymore and must reward him well." Chief Nai said with a smile. "I wasn't stingy before. When you wanted to promote Gangxin to a Class A special agent, didn't I sign the agreement without hesitation?" Leader Qiao stopped playing chess and lay on the rattan chair to think. This kid has seized a brand new border area and is now rich. The official authorities are busy trying to curry favor with him. What kind of reward would he be interested in? How about giving him a preparatory committee member? Chief Nye said with a smile, A-class special agent is almost enough to be a preparatory committee member, which is a small promotion of half a level. Preparatory committee members are all high-level awakeners, and this precedent is not easy to break. Leader Kiao frowned. Gangsun is only 18 years old this year, it's too early. Chief Nye disagreed. What era is it now? Do you still look at age and qualifications? Gangsun's ability is there is no problem giving him a preparatory committee member. Leader Kiao smiled. Old Nye, you are really? Never mind, let's discuss it at the meeting later. Chapter 413 The Boss's Successor. Now I'm going to report a piece of news. The recent Southwest Jungle Beast Tide incident, which has attracted much attention from everyone, has seen a major turnaround. Gang Xin, the top scorer in the 806 Lingyuan College entrance examination and a new awakener in the Jiangnan region, has entered the border of the Southwest Jungle and blocked the prehistoric beasts in the border from landing on Earth. Without the threat of prehistoric beasts, the living space of mutant beasts will not continue to be squeezed, and the scale of the beast tide has finally stopped growing. At present, under the joint attack of the Military Special Operations Brigade and many awakened volunteers, the number of mutant beasts gathered in the Southwest Jungle has continued to decrease, and many mutant beast groups have begun to flee. The biggest contributor to the resolution of this crisis is Gang Xin. He was born in the Jiangnan region and is the pride of our Jiangnan region. On the screen, the news anchor read aloud to Gang Xin's draft. Even though she had reported many heroes and had long been accustomed to the world, she was still shocked by Gang Xin's information. This steel heart has just awakened for less than a year, but he is already a level 6 enhanced hero, standing at the top of the intermediate awakeners. His future is limitless, and he is so handsome. How great it would be if he were my husband. The news anchor woman was reporting, but her mind was full of unknown thoughts. She was well informed and knew that this steel heart had been heavily promoted recently, and he was definitely going to be promoted. It is said that the heads of the district committee have passed a resolution. The Jiangnan district committee, they themselves are powerful high-level awakeners, and they have powerful forces and huge influence, and they are undoubted superiors. Each preparatory executive has their own division of labor. Of course, the preparatory executives are busy practicing and have no time to be distracted by the government affairs of the division of labor, so they often assign their trusted confidants to manage. This is the so-called practical officer. Gangsun is only 18 years old, and he may even make further progress in the future. If I can get close to him and serve as his practical officer, I will soar to the sky and enter the upper class. The female news anchor looked at Bai Pu's handsome and strong image on the news. Official publicity must be a good thing for Bai Pu. On the internet, many people praised Bai Pu. Even Bai Pu's character card in the virtual spirit world, Blood Armor Shield Guard, Gangsun, has become a symbol of glory, and its usage rate ranks first among low-level character cards. At this time, Bai Pu was communicating with the official people. Leader Kiao and Chief Nye came to visit Bai Pu in person, commended him and promoted him. Now that the two big guys have left, Bai Pu communicated with their practical officers to discuss some details. Sitting opposite Bai Pu was a middle-aged man wearing glasses. He was gentle and looked at Bai Pu with a gentle smile, and even sat upright, fully demonstrating his respect for Bai Pu. This middle-aged man with the glasses, in front of Bai Pu, was as gentle as a spring breeze, and did not dare to be arrogant. The work that Leader Kiao has assigned to you is mainly the daily affairs management of the border area of Jiangnan district. You only need to send a trustworthy practical officer to take charge of the details. Do you have a favorite candidate? The two big men who have already discussed this matter with Bai Pu. Managing the border area is a very important job, mainly dealing with the awakened forces. There are several civilian border areas in Jiangnan district, and 5 official border areas. Many people will come to Bai Pu to be responsible for this work. For example, an official border area of the nature of an exchange is full of shops from various forces across the country. Another example is a certain official boundary of cultivation, such as the boundary of the Deadbone Mountain Range. Every time the season is opened, I have a candidate. Li Ling, a military captain, a representative of the Shenzhen Army, and a manager of Dadan Pharmaceuticals. Bai Pu said, "How about it, is it okay? You chose an active duty officer, so there is no need to do the preliminary screening work." "Of course, there is no problem," Song Qing said with a smile. He couldn't help but envy secretly, thinking in his heart that the young lieutenant named Li Ling was really lucky. It was not an exaggeration to describe her as a meteoric rise. Because the scope of the Jiangnan region is very large, it is equivalent to the union of 2 or 3 provinces in the AD era. What arrangements do you have for the subsequent development of the new boundary? Chief Nai said that everything is in accordance with your wishes. The other practical officer was an officer, sent by Chief Nai. In the past, there was a senior in the Special Service Bureau code named Hulin. He also obtained a boundary. What is the rules? Bai Pu asked. The development of Deputy Team Leader Zulong's junction was completed by the Military Special Operations Brigade. During the development process, any spoils collected were delivered to Deputy Team Leader Zulong. I remember the low-level junction brought Deputy Team Leader Zulong a short-term benefit of hundreds of thousands of spiritual energy points. Of course, after the development, there are also considerable long-term benefits. Bai Pu asked, did Senior Zulong pay the Military Special Operations Brigade for developing the junction? The officer smiled and shook his head, free. Because in the process of developing the junction, the Military Special Operations Brigade will gain experience points, which is considered training. Bai Pu nodded slightly. Okay, my giant Fern Mountain Plain Junction will also be handed over to the military for development, just like Senior Zulong. The subsequent management and operation will also be entrusted to the official. After all, Bai Pu had just taken over the daily management affairs of the Jiangnan region's junction. It must be said that Leader Qiao and Chief Nai, these two big guys are quite open in doing things, which will make people very happy to accept, thus achieving a win-win situation. Bai Pu can use the manpower and mature experience of the government to quickly develop the border area and put it on the right track as soon as possible. The government also has a new border area that belongs to its own people, and can rely on this new border area to organize daily training tasks. Chapter 414. Damn it, he actually stole my things. The junction of the giant Fern Mountain and the ancient Dragon Tomb. This is located to the east of the Hanggu Plain, and is also an area rich in psychic particles. Because this is the cemetery of the ancient dragon in the dinosaur world. In this dark valley, there is a dangerous miasma, just like the fire poison of the giant fern volcano, which will continue to accumulate layers until the intruder can't bear it and dies, becoming part of the miasma. Of course, there are treasures in this dangerous place. Bai Pu raised his hand and sucked a pale stone into his palm. Netherworld pyroxene. Just like lava pyroxene, they are both superior materials of ordinary pyroxene. Bai Pu has already checked the information of pyroxene through the anvil. In addition to improving the base material of equipment, lava pyroxene and netherworld pyroxene can also add additional attributes to equipment. For example, when using lava pyroxenite to upgrade Bai Pu's Immortal King's iron wrist gourd, and converting it from an ordinary base material to a rare or even top-quality base material, you can attach special effects such as fire damage reduction or additional lava damage to attacks. Therefore, this kind of pyroxenite with special properties is rarer than ordinary pyroxenite. In the past 2 days, Bai Pu has closed the connection between the giant Fern Mountain and the outside world in order to collect the most precious treasures. Although the military special brigade will collect these precious treasures and hand them over to Bai Pu during the development process, people's hearts are separated from their stomachs. If an awakened soldier secretly hides 1 or 2 pieces, and everyone follows suit, Bai Pu's loss will be great. Bai Pu is still very wary of people he is not familiar with. Even if the pyroxenite is mined in advance, it is difficult for Bai Pu to guarantee that all the treasures will be looted. The border area of the giant Fern Mountain is several thousand square kilometers. Even the ancient Dragon Mound, a treasure land, has tens of thousands of acres, equivalent to thousands of football fields. The miasma blocks sight and spiritual detection, and can only be found inch by inch with the naked eye. It is normal to miss treasures. In the subsequent official development process, Bai Pu will definitely let Li Ling send people to keep an eye on it, and resolutely not let the developers steal. Bai Pu is such a stingy person. Strange, the number of netherworld pyrotechnics is too small. It seems that someone has mined it. Bai Pu found a lot of traces of mining. Bai Pu suddenly remembered that when he seized the border area and expelled outsiders, several awakened people from the Superstar Alliance were also expelled. Those people seem to be in the area of the ancient Dragon Mound. Damn, they actually stole my things. Bai Pu was very unhappy. But Bai Pu thought again, If these people from the Superstar Alliance were not attracted by the netherworld pyrotechnics and stayed in the ancient Dragon Mound, then they would most likely enter the underground palace at the bottom of the giant fern volcano like ocean. At that time, Bai Pu will have to fight against these people and deal with Hao Tian, who has ulterior motives. The success rate of seizing the boundary stone will be greatly reduced. From this point of view, the loss of this little bit of nether dragon stone seems to be nothing. No, I still can't stand it. I must ask the Superstar Alliance to return my nether dragon stone in the future. If not, I will use the iron chest guard of the Immortal King to pay off the debt. Bai Pu secretly made up his mind. A pterosaur flew from the horizon and slowly lowered its altitude. This leader-level pterosaur is also a slave controlled by Bai Pu using pure blood. The maximum number of Bai Pu's pure blood slaves in each world is only 2. If there are more than 2, he will use pure blood to control new slaves, and the previous slaves will lose their pure blood and return to the wild state. This restriction will not change until Bai Pu lights up the second level of the talent tree Source Master's advent. The tall and muscular figure of the blood spider jumped down from the back of the pterosaur and landed in front of Bai Pu. Gangson, I have picked up all the pyroxene stones near the giant fern volcano. Here you go. Blood Spider handed a bag of pyroxene stones to Bai Pu. I am almost done here. Bai Pu said, I will send a message to Sister Ling now. The official development can begin. How about building a small house for us to rest in the solidified lava area near the giant fern volcano? Blood Spider blushed a little, hummed softly, and nodded. Bai Pu was a little tempted, but when he thought of the cold face of the goddess of Wushan, the excitement immediately disappeared. He coughed and said, the intensity of the spiritual energy particles in the original junction of the giant fern mountain is very high, especially near the giant fern volcano. It can be said to be the most suitable environment for cultivation in the intermediate junction. I cultivate here, the energy is almost endless, and it is most suitable for practicing skill proficiency. Blood Spider hesitated for a moment and said, my skills are basically practiced to level 6. Blood Spider is a practice maniac, which Bai Pu has already experienced. Well, you can go to the spirit world to explore. When you need me, summon me over. Bai Pu said, I am different from you. My awakening time is too short. Many combat expertise and skills are dependent on the title of Limit Breaker. I need at least 2 or 3 months to accumulate and settle down. At present, Bai Pu's understanding of the secrets has gradually reached a bottleneck. He asked the goddess of Wushan for advice, but only got a pair of white eyes. The original words of the goddess of Wushan were, I think you have too many epiphanies and regard epiphanies as the normal speed of cultivation. It is basically impossible to practice the secrets to the advanced level without 1 or 2 years of accumulation. This is the normal speed of cultivation. You are now trying to practice the advanced secrets to the mastery level. There is no precedent for this among the intermediate awakeners. I suggest that you go to the professional plane first and polish your professional energy to the peak. Bai Pu disagreed with this. He knew more than the goddess of Wushan. It is not without precedent that the intermediate awakeners mastered the secrets of the mastery level. In the world of original sin, Rosen, the official elect of the Lord of Death, is a precedent. There are also monster-level awakeners who can use king-level purple weapons at the advanced awakener level. Bai Pu always feels quite pressured when thinking about this. After obtaining Bai Pu's permission, the official teams that developed the border area began to move in one after another. The first to come in were 3 special operations battalions. The square formation composed of thousands of secret archers began to advance in an orderly manner to implement Bai Pu's first plan, to eliminate the prehistoric monsters in the giant fern mountain plain. The secret archer troops basically want to eliminate monsters such as digging worms. When encountering those leader-level dinosaurs, they are left to Bai Pu to kill, mainly to hone his combat skills. Bai Pu once considered whether to keep the dinosaurs in the giant fern mountain plain. But this idea is not realistic. The giant fern mountain plain is just a border area of thousands of square kilometers. Compared with the vast map of the entire dinosaur world, it is just an insignificant place. These prehistoric giants need a vast dinosaur world to migrate and reproduce. Raising dinosaurs in the giant fern mountain plain is like raising sharks in a small fish tank. The final result is self-evident. It is difficult to replenish the dinosaurs in the giant fern plain, unless the giant beasts in the dinosaur world are all fools, and they all stray into the border area and disappear one after another without getting tired of it. Bai Pu wants to develop the long-term benefits of the border area, so he must make this border area training ground and trading ground for intermediate awakeners. The entry of a large number of awakeners in the future is inevitable. When awakeners encounter dinosaurs, they must want to kill them for materials. Bai Pu does not have so much time and energy to supervise them. Instead of letting them kill, it is better to let Bai Pu, the master, kill them. At least a lot of rare dinosaur materials can be accumulated. Chapter 415, Spring Festival at Giant Fern Mountain. After the awakened troops of the military cleared the plains around the Giant Fern volcano, modern machinery and equipment entered and began to break ground and build houses. First, a small house was built for Bai Pu on the original crater, which was used for Bai Pu's study, life and rest after his usual practice. Then a small city was built on the Henggu Plain. Bai Pu practiced hard at the border, and occasionally received a call from the secret archer troops, riding a pterosaur to the target location to kill the leader-level dinosaur. Sometimes, the blood spiders that ventured into the spirit world would summon Bai Pu to join the battle. Bai Pu experienced the benefits of being summoned. As soon as he appeared, he faced a battle, and the enemies that the blood spiders could not deal with were generally a large number of powerful enemies. Bai Pu saved the time to familiarize himself with the situation and make layouts in the spirit world in the early stage, and could harvest the treasure chests in the spirit world at the fastest speed and highest efficiency. Days passed, and Bai Pu also ushered in his first spring festival after becoming an awakened. This New Year's Eve, Bai Pu spent at the border of the Giant Fern Mountain Plain. In reality, Bai Pu couldn't help but feel depressed when he saw the lively scenes of families reuniting. Although many new friends invited Bai Pu to their homes to celebrate the new year, Bai Pu still declined tactfully. Other families were reuniting and having fun, but as an outsider, he would only make the atmosphere awkward. It is important for people to know themselves. Bai Pu did not go to the world of flesh and blood distortion to celebrate the new year, as there was no spring festival custom there. However, Bai Pu summoned Qin to teach the female teacher course. Qin consumed 66 points of Blood River Dao Qi from Bai Pu every minute, which was 56 points with a 15% energy reduction of Iron Wool Knee Pad. In the Giant Fern Mountain Plain, Bai Pu could recover 10 points of energy per second, not to mention 1 Qin, he could also withstand 10 more. I thought this spring festival would just pass like this. Unexpectedly, on New Year's Eve, Liling and Blood Spider came. Blood Spider brought Bai Pu a New Year gift, a book of skills and experience of the Aborigines. 9-turn Pear Blossom Spearmanship Atlas, a special item that records the common moves and techniques of the 9-turn Pear Blossom Spearmanship. Practicing this spearmanship can double the speed of your long-handled weapon expertise and gain a specific passive bonus. Note, the doubling effect of the Spearmanship Atlas on the expertise upgrade speed is only effective below level 6, including level 6. This is not a secret experience, but a skill experience. There are no secret moves. In terms of value, it is definitely not as valuable as Blood Spiders, a brief biography of the floating world in Voidflow Swordmanship. But it is already very precious, and countless low and middle level awakeners will fight for it. Liling brought a lot of New Year's goods from her home, and also made Spring Festival couplets, stickers, blessing characters, etc. for Bai Pu's hut, finally creating some New Year's atmosphere. Bai Pu was moved and gave Liling and Blood Spider a return gift each, all of which were spiritual treasures harvested from the development of the Giant Fern Mountain during this period. The one given to Liling was a lava pyroclastic stone microcurving. It was originally just a relatively expensive material, but Bai Pu attached a one-time teleportation permission to the Giant Fern Mountain Plain to this microcurving. In the real world, when Liling encounters danger, she can choose to activate the teleportation permission of the lava pyroclastic stone statue and enter the borderland to avoid danger. Of course, it can only be used in the real world, not in the spirit world. The one given to Blood Spider was a pterosaur egg. This pterosaur egg is the offspring of Bai Pu's pterosaur slave in the Giant Fern Mountain Plain. After hatching, it is guaranteed to be an elite-level pterosaur. The borderland and reality are interconnected, and Blood Spider can bring this pterosaur egg back to reality and use it as her mount in the real world after hatching. Unfortunately, Blood Spider can't take the pterosaur to explore the spirit world. After all, she is not a summoning profession. On the night of New Year's Eve, Liling personally cooked a New Year's Eve dinner and set off many fireworks and firecrackers. For the first time, The noise of fireworks and firecrackers rang out over the primitive jungle of the giant fern mountain plain. Li Ling's cooking skills are really good. Although the rare ingredients and precious meat are the credit, it is rare for her to be able to cook psychic ingredients. According to Li Ling, when she was young, her family was poor and her parents were busy working, so she cooked all the meals at home by herself. After entering the military academy, she also studied psychic cuisine. Originally, Qin and Blood Spider had a close relationship. Both of them were not familiar with Li Ling, and there was a gap at the beginning. But after Qin knew the role of Li Ling in Bai Pu, she quickly changed her attitude and deliberately got close to Li Ling. This New Year's Eve dinner gave Qin a good opportunity to praise Li Ling. This praise was also sincere. After all, the psychic cuisine of modern China is more exquisite and delicious than the Nordic court meals where Qin is. After dinner, Li Ling reported to Bai Pu on her recent work. Gangson, after I became your practical officer, I immediately took over the border data of Jiangnan district and found that there were management loopholes in several trading venues. Li Ling frowned. Even the official trading venues do not have strict identity verification. Not to mention the trading venues of those private forces, the awakened can enter anonymously as long as they pay, and the entry and exit information provided to the official is very messy. There should not be many private forces in Jiangnan district. Bai Pu smiled. Well, the main one is the Superstar Alliance, which has 2 low-level borders, 3 mid-level borders, and 1 high-level border. Others include the Jiangnan Su family, the Qiao family, the Zhu family, etc. The borders of the Superstar Alliance have been under official supervision since the last incident of harboring wanted criminals. How long is the agreed supervision period? Bai Pu asked. The agreed supervision period was 1 year, and there are still 5 or 6 months left. Li Ling said. Bai Pu tapped the table lightly with his fingers. Let's review the data of the border areas of the Superstar Alliance first. The border areas of the Superstar Alliance must be strictly reviewed, and the awakened people entering and leaving must register with their real names. Okay. Li Ling said. In fact, for the border areas of the trading field nature, everyone agreed to be anonymous. This is a default rule. After all, there are no fish in clear water. Some awakened people are not criminals themselves, but they believe in the principle of not showing off their wealth. When they hold a certain treasure and want to trade it, they must modify it anonymously, and even use small props to interfere with the detection. In this case, they prefer to choose a private trading field. Bai Pu and Li Ling are very clear about this, but Bai Pu's goal is to mess with the Superstar Alliance. It is normal to burn the Superstar Alliance first. After all, the border areas of the Superstar Alliance are under official supervision, so it is very convenient to do this. This is also conducive to combating awakened crimes and making those anti-human awakened wanted criminals have nowhere to hide. This is good for the public security environment in the Jiangnan region. Chapter 416, You slept with him? Did you suffer a loss? Li Ling also knew the unspoken rule of anonymity in the border area. She took the initiative to report this content to Bai Pu. It seemed redundant, but it was actually to provide Bai Pu with a starting point to attack the Superstar Alliance. After reporting the work, Li Ling took off the identity of a practical officer, stretched her waist, and said, You're 2 women, Qin is pretty good, and Blood Spider doesn't like to talk much? Bai Pu glanced at Li Ling's wheat-colored and slim waist, hummed, and then came back to his senses. Hey, what do you mean by my 2 women? Don't talk nonsense. Bai Pu sweated profusely. He had just attracted his attention to Li Ling's slender waist. If the goddess of Wuxian heard this, she would be furious. It's only a matter of time. Li Ling looked at Bai Pu with contempt. The contempt here is not the contempt for Bai Pu's timing, but the contempt for Bai Pu's desire to do something but not the courage to do it. The psychic era is an era where the strong are respected. It is natural for geniuses and strong people to have more partners and inherit their excellent genes. No one will find it strange. Of course, there are also retro people who miss the monogamy of the 80 era and call it the last glory of civilization. At this time, Bai Pu's 2 women mentioned by Li Ling are busy in the kitchen. Li Ling is responsible for cooking, and the dishes and cleanup are taken over by Zhu and Qin. Bai Pu, the master, does not have to do anything. An empress dowager from the spiritual plane and a daughter of a big family in the real world are in the kitchen together, chatting while washing dishes. Qin is responsible for chatting, and Zhu is responsible for listening. Do you have that? Qin made a ringing motion with her fingers. This motion was recently learned by her. Zuzu's face flushed immediately. Seeing Zuzu's performance, Ken instantly understood, not yet. We are not that kind of relationship, we are. Zuzu hesitated and didn't know how to describe it. Charlotte, I think you should be more positive and proactive. Ken expressed her opinion. In my opinion, Gangson is not a man who is slow in emotions. He just keeps pursuing a stronger state and is unwilling to spend his time pursuing girls. But he is definitely not a heartless and ascetic defender. As long as you take the initiative, he will not refuse. Isn't this the behavior of a scumbag? Zuzu was stunned. What is a scumbag? Ken asked. Zuzu read in a book that a scumbag has 3 characteristics: not taking the initiative, not refusing, and not taking responsibility. She told Ken the definition of a scumbag. I think Gangson is a responsible and good man. Ken shook her head and said, and even if he is not responsible, do you suffer a loss if you sleep with him? Zuzu thought of Bai Pu's appearance and figure, and his face slowly turned red again. But she still shook her head. I can't ask for that kind of thing on my own initiative. After the new year, Ken returned to the world of flesh plague, distortion. Li Ling returned to the real world to work as a practical officer, and at the same time helped Bai Pu purchase blue equipment and find props for extracting loot. Blood Spider began his journey to the spirit world again. Bai Pu returned to the days of hard training. The official implemented Bai Pu's will and required the Superstar Alliance to strictly manage the entry and exit registration of the border. After this order was issued, the Superstar Alliance was naturally very resistant, but it was of no avail. The borders of the Superstar Alliance, except for the high-level borders, the other low and medium-level borders are already under official supervision. After the ban was issued, the income was greatly reduced. Many awakened people who did not want to reveal their identities chose to trade in other private borders. Bai Pu's new policy has also achieved the desired results. The low and medium-level awakened criminals collected by the Superstar Alliance are difficult to hide, and have been dug out one after another. The Special Service Group 6 has made a lot of gains recently. Deputy Team Leader Yuan Tang even promoted an A-level special agent. He also expressed his gratitude to Bai Pu. Tizhun is still asking why the management of private borders was so loose before, which allowed awakened criminals to hide easily. In fact, the reason is very simple. The former executive boss who was responsible for managing the borders had to consider the reactions from all sides and could not openly target the Superstar Alliance. After Bai Pu came to power, he restricted the Superstar Alliance in the name of revenge. With this title, all forces are happy to watch the fun and will not hinder Bai Pu. Some special agents asked if it would be possible to adopt a similar system to strictly manage all the borders in the Jiangnan region in the future. Bai Pu refused, saying that the time was not right yet. Bai Pu always kept in mind that he was just a small intermediate awakener. At least he would not consider doing more until Bai Pu was promoted to senior level and was able to walk sideways in the real world. A new semester has begun. The 3 senior players of the Zilligong team, Zuanpin, Jinxie, etc., had to find jobs and left the team before the new year. Only 2 main players, Bai Pu and Zuzu, were left in the team. The original substitute players, the rising rookies of the school, and the newcomers who transferred from other schools, all signed up to join the Zilligong team. Anyone with a discerning eye can see that although 3 main players of Zilligong have left, as long as Gangson and Zuzu are still there, Zilligong is the defending champion and the favorite to win the championship. Teacher KK is happy and sad. She is happy because the depth of Zilligong's lineup has been greatly improved. Both the main lineup and the substitute lineup are much stronger than last year. She is sad because she is tired. The 2 original main players of the Zilligong team, ordinary-faced men, are considered little geniuses. They are only slightly stronger than ordinary awakeners, but they have already had the idea of becoming famous in the college competition. They even refused to listen to Bai Pu's command for a while. It was not until they hit a wall that they recognized the reality and changed their attitude. Now the school team has a group of talented awakeners, including some heroes, and no one is willing to give in to the other. On the surface, everyone respects Gangson, and the school has passed the position of captain to Gangson. But Gangson has been hiding in the border area and has not appeared. Suddenly, there is an undercurrent of power struggle within the school team. There are 7 or 8 geniuses competing for the 3 main positions. Among them is the rookie Shiai, who is more favored by the principal. But at this time, Shiai's strength is far from enough to overwhelm everyone. Teacher KK once imagined that these people would take turns to fight one-on-one, with the strong ones becoming the main force and the weak ones becoming the substitutes. But there is a problem. Some awakeners are auxiliary positioning, which is more useful to the team, but they are not good at one-on-one fights, which is not fair. There is no way, so Teacher KK asked the Principal K Xiong for advice. After listening to Teacher KK's complaints, K Xiong chuckled and came up with an idea. Don't worry about deciding the main force. Gangzin is the captain, so let him decide. Contact Gangzin and tell him that the new team member needs to go to his border area to meet the captain. Chapter 417 New Team Members of Zai Polytechnic. At the junction of Giant Fern Mountain and Plain, Hanggu Plain. At this time, a small city has appeared on Hanggu Plain, Giant Fern City. There are meditation rooms, martial arts arenas, and shops along the entire street. The supporting facilities are being improved, and the shops of awakened people have not yet been allowed to move in. However, Li Ling has received many applications for long-term rental of a shop in Giant Fern City, and the offer is quite high. On this day, outside the empty Giant Fern City, white lights suddenly lit up. The white light flashed and disappeared, and figures appeared one by one. These figures, wearing various clothes, looked very young, and were a group of young men and women. They were the school team members of Ziliguang, and Xiaoyu was among them. The psychic particles here are not bad. I have been to the dinosaur world, and the strength is the best among all the worlds of the same level. A young man in a fluttering green shirt and exposed chest muscles, holding a grass stem, said with a smile. Xiaoyu puffed up his little face. She remembered that this grass stem youth was codenamed Boju, a junior this year, and a level 4 hero profession. Mr. Boju, are we going to find Captain Steelheart now? Another female awakener, Amaterasu, said in a kimono, wooden clogs, and a Japanese geisha's hair. Amaterasu is a talented assistant who transferred from Jiangnan University. Her weird outfit is said to be the ancient Japanese geisha's outfit. No one knows why she always looks like this. Hurry up, Captain Steelheart is the master here, he knows we are coming. Go directly and don't let him wait. The sturdy and burly awakener Mashinjushi said. Mashinjushi is a rare tank-type awakener. Of course, when he joined the team, he reported that his team position was deputy tank. A group of people looked at each other and walked towards the direction of the giant fern volcano. Along the way, seeing the lush giant fern vegetation everywhere, the prehistoric wilderness scenery that was completely different from the real wilderness area, everyone was a little amazed. Only Bojiayu was relatively bland. He had been to the dinosaur world and commented, the scenery here is okay, but it lacks some vitality. In the real dinosaur world, there are pterosaurs flying high in the sky, and there are all kinds of small dinosaurs on the ground. A Tyrannosaurus rex will suddenly appear, which is much more exciting than here. Captain Gangson wants to build this place into an exchange, so he must kill those dinosaurs. Mashinjushi said. I have reservations about this choice. In my opinion, keeping these dinosaurs and using them as training objects for fighting, and creating a training and fighting type of intersection, the benefits will definitely be higher. Bojiayu said. Everyone talked and moved forward. Shiyu listened silently. She found that everyone here wanted to show themselves, fight for the right to speak, and gain recognition from others. Especially the level 4 hero Bojiayu. Student Bai Pu. No, Captain Gangson, can you convince these arrogant guys completely? Dong, dong, dong. Heavy footsteps came. Could there be any dinosaurs left? Oh no, it's a leader-level Dimetrodon. Bojiayu was as if he was facing a formidable enemy, and quickly called on Mashinjushi to come forward. This guy is not easy to mess with. You hold on, I'll do the damage. Everyone's faces changed wildly, and they took out their weapons. The Dimetrodon slowly passed by them, opened its mouth and tore off a piece of fat giant fern leaf, rolled it into its mouth and chewed it, and then left without looking back. Mashinjushi was stunned for a moment. This Dimetrodon doesn't seem to have any intention of attacking us. Huh? Fortunately. Bojiayu sighed. Although the Dimetrodon is a herbivorous dinosaur, it has a very strong sense of territory and is a highly aggressive dinosaur. If it had attacked us just now, it would have killed at least half of us before we could have taken it down. Shiyu couldn't help but say, all the dinosaurs in the giant fern plain have been hunted and killed, but this dinosaur is still alive and well. It must have been subdued by Captain Gangson. How is it possible? Subduing a leader-level dinosaur? Even the previous Captain Zuanpin might not have been able to do it. Although Captain Gangxin is strong, he is not a summoner after all. Bo Jiayu said confidently. A croaking sound rang out, and a shadow quickly passed over everyone's heads. Leader-level pterosaur, hide quickly. Bo Jiayu hid under the leaves of a giant fern with a thud. Others also hid, only Mushin Jushi and Shiyu reacted a little slowly. Puff puff puff. The pterosaur fell, and the strong airflow made everyone unable to open their eyes. Why did the pterosaur fall to the ground? This is a good opportunity. If we can destroy its wings, we can restrict its flight and then kill it. Bo Jiayu whispered. Suddenly, the pterosaur spoke. Everyone, get on its back. Everyone's eyes widened. It's not the pterosaur that is talking, it's the psychic camera. There is a psychic camera embedded on its crown. It's Captain Steelheart who is talking. Amaterasu said. The pterosaur turned around, turned its back to everyone, and lowered its body. Everyone looked at Bo Jiayu in unison, and the meaning in their eyes was self-evident. Didn't you say that Captain Steelheart is not a summoner and it is impossible to subdue the leader-level dinosaur? Bo Jiayu. A group of people jumped onto the broad and smooth back of the pterosaur. The pterosaur spread its wings and carried a few people to the center of the giant fern volcano, which was the volcanic platform where Bai Pu's training hut was located. A group of people landed and looked around curiously. Suddenly, their eyes caught sight of a young man sitting cross-legged on the top of the hut, and they could not take their eyes away. He had a handsome face, a naked upper body, and a tall and strong figure, full of masculine edges and corners. He was sitting cross-legged, but it was like a mountain lying in front of them. It was majestic, and they could only look up at it. Amaterasu tried to call out, Captain Steelheart. The handsome young man opened his eyes. Everyone immediately felt that his temperament had changed slightly. Originally, it was like an unchanging mountain, but the moment he opened his eyes, there was a strong breath of wind. It was like a howling strong wind on the top of a mountain, sweeping across the earth. Bai Pu glanced at everyone, his eyes stayed on Shiyi for a second, and then he said, I am Gangxin. Welcome to Giant Fern Mountain. Just as several people were about to speak to get close to him, Bai Pu gently raised a hand. I know why you are here. You want to be in the main lineup, and you all have your own specialties, and no one wants to give in to the other, right? The girl Amaterasu said pitifully, Yes, Captain, I am a support, and my role can only be fully played in team battles. I can't do single combat or something like that. Others also spoke up to introduce their professional positioning. Bai Pu pressed his hand down, and everyone shut up immediately. To save time, there is no need to introduce one by one. The 8 of you cooperate and attack me. Let me try your level, so that I can have a better idea. Chapter 418 This sword can break the sky. As soon as these words came out, the 8 people looked at each other in surprise. Captain Steelheart, we all know that you are very strong, but it is still too outrageous to fight 8 people alone. Bo Jiayu was the first to say, there are 8 of us. Let's not talk about how much advantage the health and professional energy have when combined. Just talking about skills, there are at least dozens of skills. No matter how strong you are just one person. You can only have no more than 10 skills at most. Although the others did not speak, their eyes revealed the same meaning. Bai Pu smiled and stood up, slowly walking to the open space in front of the hut. This is the place where he usually practices skills. There are scratches of varying depths on the solidified volcanic lava. Your name is Bo Jiayu, right? You used to be a student of the combat department of Zai Polytechnic. Bo Jiayu straightened his chest and smiled. Yes, I was promoted to the level 4 hero profession in October last year. I am a junior this year, and I am still your senior. Bai Pu felt the arrogance in Bo Jiayu's tone and couldn't help laughing. Well, congratulations to senior Bo Jiayu for making a breakthrough after years of hard work. You're welcome. Bo Jiayu's self-esteem was greatly satisfied, and he immediately said, so how about changing the method and trying one by one? If the 8 of us attack you, you will be defeated. Everyone laughed. How about this? Our battlefield will be defined in this circle. You don't need to defeat me. As long as I leave the circle, I will lose. How about that? Bai Pu extended his finger, and a fierce gust of wind flew out, drawing a large circle with a radius of 10 meters on the ground. The gust of wind energy drew deep marks on the hard rock. This scene fell into the eyes of the 8 people, and they suddenly stopped laughing. They looked at each other, with horror in their eyes. Bo Jiayu still had full confidence in his eyes, and asked, "If we win, is there any prize?" Bai Pu smiled gently and said, "If you win, I will step down as the captain. The person who forces me out of the circle can succeed as captain." Ma Shinjushi quickly said, No, only Boss Gangson can be the captain." Amaterasu also said, "I came here for Captain Gangson. I won't accept anyone else as captain." Bo Jiayu glanced at the others and saw that everyone supported Bai Pu. He swallowed the words that were about to come to his lips and said with a dry laugh, "This prize is too high. Let's change it. So, if we win by chance, can we find a place to practice here?" Bai Pu nodded slightly, "No problem." The conditions of Bo Jiayu's change made the eyes of the others light up. Among these 8 new team members, except Amaterasu who is a strong second generation, the others are of ordinary origin, and some of them don't even have parents who are awakened. Being able to practice in the giant fern mountain, where psychic particles are so abundant, is of course beneficial. It can also save a lot of money on renting a quiet room at the junction. And it won't be a loss for Captain Steelheart, so there's no need to worry about upsetting him. In fact, Bai Pu was already unhappy in his heart. A long-term practice quiet room for 8 people can bring in a lot of psychic points. You, Bo Jiayu, actually want to get it for free? Bai Pu, who originally just wanted to play with these 8 newcomers, quietly changed his mind and nodded lightly. "Okay, let's start." The 8 people flew out at the same time, standing at the edge of the circle drawn by Bai Pu, forming a ring and surrounding Bai Pu. 4 of the long-range attackers tried at the same time. Crossbows, energy bombs, ice spikes. Attacked Bai Pu at the same time. With a swipe, a layer of blood-red shield opened on Bai Pu's body. The damage from these attacks was all absorbed by the blood-red shield, and only ripples appeared on the surface of the shield. With the cover of several long-range teammates, Bo Jiayu drew out a long sword, lowered his body, and rushed out like an arrow. Swish! The long sword stabbed out 3 cold plums, attacking different vital parts of Bai Pu, taking a virtual and real way. At least force Steelheart to use his weapon first. "You are empty-handed until now, do you look down on me?" Bo Jiayu was born in an ordinary family. He barely grew to level 3 elite in Zai Polytechnic for 2 years. It was not until last year's second transfer attempt that he was promoted to the hero profession and his strength increased greatly. His mentality quickly expanded, and he changed from being cautious to confident and arrogant. After all, it is rare for an elite template to directly upgrade to hero, crossing 2 template levels. In Bo Jiayu's view, Steelheart and Blood Spider are just taking the advantage of being ahead. When he grows to level 5 or 6, he will definitely be no worse than Steelheart. This year, Bo Jiayu is already a junior. Compared with others, he has begun to think about what to do after graduation. In last year's college championship, Zuanpin, as the captain, showed his strength in all aspects and finally won a contract with a Class A club. Bojiu also wants to follow suit and fight for the right to speak in the team. Today's contest proposed by Gangson is the best opportunity. 3 sword shadows attacked separately, and when they were about to hit, they suddenly merged into one, turning into lightning like sword light, piercing Bai Pu's throat. Bai Pu took a light step and dodged the sword. At the same time, he raised his foot and kicked another melee player who took the opportunity to attack. Bojiu shook his wrist, and the straight stab turned into a diagonal chop, with momentum and strength stronger and faster than the first sword. My wind-chasing sword technique will trigger attack speed and movement speed bonuses for each strike, which can be stacked up to 3 times until the enemy is cut. Bojiu was excited. In his opinion, Bai Pu's dodge was really a bad idea. Bai Pu seemed to notice the change in the speed of Bo Jiayu's sword path, but still ignored it. He retreated half a step to avoid it again, stretched out his palm backwards, grabbed Mo Shanjishi, and threw it with force. Mo Shanjishi felt a strong force surging into his body, and his whole body was stiff and unable to move. The next second, his figure flew out like a cloud and landed outside the circle. "Am I out?" Mo Shanjishi said blankly. "No, the circle is my limitation, not yours." Bai Pu had time to speak, and at the same time avoided Bo Jiayu's third attack. Bo Jiayu's third sword missed again, but he had already stacked 3 layers of chasing the wind gain state. Attack speed and movement speed increased by 30 points at the same time. In the strongest state, Bo Jiayu held his sword with both hands and suddenly slashed out horizontally. The blade cut out a green sword light, and even brought out a sonic boom. Bojiayu's main combat skill, Wind Slash. At the same time, a layer of black fire silently attached to the sword energy, which was a temporary additional gain state. The broad-minded female awakener Amaterasu, wearing a kimono, extended her hands to add black fire to Bojiu's attack. She smiled and said, "Captain Steelheart, my spiritual flame is specifically designed to counter shields." Although Bojiu was a little dissatisfied, he had no time to care about anything else at this time, so he could only chop with all his strength. "This sword can break the sky." Snap! The green sword energy dissipated, and the black fire extinguished. A hand neatly grasped the sword tip. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 419. After all, you are the captain. For a moment, everyone in the field stopped their actions and stared at this scene in a daze. They watched Bai Pu take on Bojiayu's skill with his bare hands, and they felt a sense of shattered cognition. This is Bojiayu's main combat skill. It is also a main combat skill with a black fire buff added by Amaterasu. How could it be broken by bare hands? Everyone also clearly saw that the violent sword energy and black fire energy tried to burn that hand. But Bai Pu's palm seemed to be made of steel, shining with a metallic luster. Skin of Steel is activated actively. Now the Skin of Steel has been upgraded to level 5, and with a hidden title, Limit Breaker, it is level 6. Passively increase 68 points of armor. When it is activated actively, Bai Pu will also gain 34 points of physical damage reduction. With the adaptive evolution Keratin Skin, there is also a damage reduction caused by the level suppression of up to 2 levels, which completely eats Bojiayu's slashing damage. As for the additional mental power flame, it does have a restraining effect on the shield, but it is only the effect of increasing the damage when encountering the shield, which is annihilated by Bai Pu's volcanic shield. This is counter-resistance. Just like water can overcome fire, but a drop of water encountering a raging flame can only be evaporated in turn. Bai Pu's right hand grasped the blade. Bojiu's face flushed, and he tried to draw the sword with both hands, but the sword seemed to be welded to Bai Pu's palm, unable to move at all. Bai Pu pulled hard, and the 161-point offensive power judgment was more than double the gap against Bojiu. Bojiu's hands hurt, and a huge force surged, and the weapon in his hand was directly taken away by Bai Pu. Bai Pu threw the long sword backhandedly, and the long sword whizzed out and hit Bojiu's chest. Bojiu felt like an ordinary person being hit by a sniper bullet. The whole person flew backwards and coughed up blood in midair. After landing, Bojiu rolled outside the circle for more than 10 times. For a while, his sternum seemed to be broken, and he couldn't get up while holding his chest. Fortunately, Bai Pu threw the long sword with the hilt of the sword at Bojiu, not the blade. Otherwise, this throw, which contained 111 points of actual power and 161 points of power, could have completely pierced Bojiu, leaving a transparent hole. Although this was Bai Pu's territory, he had already formulated the sparring rules of automatically leaving the border area if fatally injured, so even if the long sword penetrated, Bojiu would not die. But after all, it was still too violent and showed no mercy. Bai Pu was still optimistic about Bojiu. If he was beaten to a point where his heart was broken and he had a psychological shadow, and he would stagnate from then on, it might not be a good thing for the school. Bojiu's elimination seemed to be a watershed between attacking and defending the aliens. A group of new members of Zai Polytechnic were afraid to step forward, but Bai Pu took a step forward and slapped the other melee member who had just rushed over with his bare hands. With the infusion of power, he knocked out another melee member who had just rushed over. The stun effect was caused by the huge difference in basic attributes in Bai Pu's passive, Tyrant Blow. For a while, no one dared to engage in close combat. Only the ranged professions led by Amaterasu attacked Bai Pu from a distance. They had already slipped out of the circle. Anyway, Captain Steelheart said that the circle was a restriction on himself, not on other team members. As long as they stayed away from the circle, Captain Steelheart would definitely not be able to do anything to them in close combat. At least they could be invincible. Bai Pu glanced at them. Except for Amaterasu, the other two ranged professions lowered their heads. Amaterasu was the one who had the least burden. She blinked and said, "Captain Steelheart, Don't blame us for taking advantage of the loopholes to bully you. After all, you are the captain. Bai Pu shook his head. It doesn't matter. He silently calculated the angles of the 3 ranged professions and reached out to grab them. 3 lassos flew out from Bai Pu's palm, accurately encircling the 3 people. Then, under the exclamations of the 3 people, the lassos dragged and pulled Amaterasu and others over like lightning. Lasso strike, level 7 special effect, multiple lassos, up to 5 lassos extended. Originally, lasso strike was not a main combat skill. But with a giant fern mountain as a treasure land for practicing skills, Bai Pu's Blood River Dao Ki can't be squandered at all. He doesn't care about the main combat skills or auxiliary skills, and just practices them all on CD. The lasso attack has been upgraded to level 6. Under the breakthrough of the limit breaker, he draws the special effect of this multiple lassos. Of course, for each additional lasso, the consumption of Blood River Dao Ki will increase by 20 points. What will happen if 3 ranged attacks fall at Bai Pu's feet? You can figure out the answer with your toes. Once these 3 ranged outputs are KOED, there is no need to fight this battle. Mashin Jushi shouted and jumped forward. When he leaped over, his body underwent amazing changes. His tooth-bone bed protruded, his skin turned blue-black, and the black nails of his 5 fingers became sharp and pointed. This is Mashin Jushi's professional skill, Zombie Transformation. Transform into a terrible zombie that doesn't know pain, gain a lot of health bonus, strength judgment bonus and physical damage reduction, while reducing agility and spirit. The original occupational passive, Corpse Poison, doubles the slowing effect on the enemy. Shi Yi, who had been looking for an opportunity, finally found it, and jumped behind Bai Pu, stabbing Bai Pu's neck acupuncture point with the rapier. Bojiayu, who was injured and resting in the distance, exhaled and curled his lips secretly. Now she finally dares to go up. Alice, if she had taken action earlier and cooperated with us to attack, maybe the situation would be different. Shiyu was not afraid of fighting, she just had an intuitive feeling that no matter which angle she attacked from, it would be a dead end, so she did not make any unnecessary attempts. Now is the critical moment when the 3 teammates are about to be killed by Bai Pu. Mo Shanjushi fought hard and attracted most of Bai Pu's attention. Shiyu's intuition felt that now is the best and only chance to attack. Because Bai Pu must deal with Mo Shanjushi, Amaterasu and other 4 people, and he can't spare his hands to deal with himself. Bai Pu, as Shiyi's intuition expected, took action against Mo Shanjushi. However, an unexpected situation that Shiyi had not expected occurred. In Shiyi's intuitive perception, Mashin Jushi activated his professional skill transformation, and he could at least hold out for more than 5 seconds under Bai Pu's hands, right? Adding the time to deal with Amaterasu and the other 3, it would take at least 10 seconds. With 10 seconds of free output time, Shiyi could at least break the defense. But the problem is, Bai Pu only used 1 attack. Bai Pu grabbed the zombie transformed by Mashin Jushi, and under the infusion of unparalleled power, Mashin Jushi could not move. Bai Pu exerted force and threw Mashin Jushi down hard. Mashin Jushi's eyes were filled with astonishment. After he turned into a zombie, his strength judgment was greatly improved, and he had the passive characteristic of being difficult to be knocked away and repelled. However, under the absolute power suppression of Bai Pu, tearing these special effects was as easy as tearing paper. When Mashin Jushi landed, 3 Kijin exploded like bombs buried in the soil. Each Kijin hid a long-range team member in front of Bai Pu. Chapter 420 I can't open it without you. The visual effect of this attack was like Bai Pu grabbing Mo Shanjushi and throwing him, and the explosive air wave generated shook Amaterasu and the other 2 away. 3-part world. Bai Pu has already practiced this main combat skill to level 5, and it is level 6 if you count the limit breakers, which has long met the conditions for extracting level 4 special effects. The special effect that Bai Pu finally determined was adsorption. Adsorption. When launching the 3-part world for a throat judgment, a close-range adsorption effect will be generated, pulling the opponent into the range of your skill judgment. You are no longer restricted by the equipped weapon when launching this skill. The priority of adsorption is as high as 8 points. This is also the reason why Mo Shanjushi, as an enhanced elite, could not avoid Bai Pu's seemingly simple grab. Bai Pu only spent 1 skill to deal with Mo Shanjushi, and Amaterasu and the other 3 were all hit by the key of the 3-part world, and were injured and vomited blood. At this time, Shi had just stabbed the first sword. Bai Pu seemed to have eyes behind his head, and he dodged sideways and turned around to punch. In Shiyi's eyes, this punch seemed to have countless changes, and she had almost no room to dodge. This is an absolute suppression of fighting skills. However, Shiyi instinctively felt a gap in the changes of Bai Pu's boxing path. Shiyi, who believed in his intuition very much, suddenly bent his body and made a difficult twisting movement, like a frightened deer, jumping out happily. The movement was elegant and full of the beauty of dance. Not only that, after jumping out, Shiyi slid to the right side of Bai Pu, and the rapier pierced his waist. It happened to be the part where Bai Pu punched out and had no time to defend. However, Bai Pu only made one move. Inhaling, the muscles around his waist tightened, flashing a metallic luster. Ling. This blow actually sounded a clear metallic sound. Shiyi's sword seemed to pierce a steel cylinder, and even the rapier was bent into an arc. Bai Pu made another move. This time, he was not as casual as the last punch, and accurately buckled Shiyi's wrist. In front of the 161-point offensive power judgment, Shiyi's long sword was out of his hand in the next second. However, when Bai Pu just touched Shiyi's wrist, a phantom of blooming flowers appeared in front of his eyes. Shiyi's body, as if it had no entity, slid in front of Bai Pu, like an untouchable spring. Bai Pu. Shiyi. Not only Bai Pu was slightly stunned, but even Shiyi was stunned. Obviously, she was ready to be captured by Bai Pu, but she didn't expect that she could get rid of it. Bai Pu's reaction was faster than Shiyi. He was a veteran, and his body's instincts was faster than his thinking speed. A little daze did not affect his continued attack at all. Swish, a big hand reached out and firmly grasped Shiyi's slender neck. Under the infusion of power, Shiyi's whole body was numb, and he was lightly lifted up, unable to move. At this point, the victory or defeat was already obvious. Bojiayu, Xianzhou, Mashin Jushi. All 8 people were defeated, and each of them was injured and lost their fighting power. On the other hand, Bai Pu's face was not red and he was not out of breath, and he was still empty-handed. No need to fight, no need to fight. Amaterasu raised her hands in surrender. Although she was the lightest injured, it was obvious that she had lost the meaning of continuing to fight. She was panting heavily, and the wide chest of her kimono shook violently with her breathing. We have all tried our best. Captain Gangson didn't even open the Blood River territory, and didn't take any weapons. It's just like an adult beating a child. It's basically a dimensionality reduction attack. A group of new team members were all sitting on the ground, stunned, and obviously lost their fighting spirit. At this time, another person came out of the hut. It was none other than the long-lurking teacher KK. She cleared her throat. You don't have to belittle yourselves. When Gangson participated in the competition last year, his strength was already unique in the college circle. At that time, he was only level 5 when he beat Fenghiro and Hayoshin. Now Gangson has risen to level 6, and his strength has been further improved. It is estimated that he alone is enough to challenge the entire Zhejiang University team. Teacher KK felt relieved, especially when she saw Bojiayu being hit so hard that he doubted his life. She felt so relieved. It's not that Teacher KK is a psychopath. It's that Bojiayu had just been promoted to the hero profession and made a breakthrough, and his mentality was too inflated. It was because he wanted to perform too much that the undercurrent of power struggle in the team has been difficult to calm down. Competition is a good thing, but the unhealthy competition that seriously undermines the unity within the team obviously has a greater negative effect. Now Bai Pu has taken action and easily subdued these newcomers, which should make them recognize their position. Teacher KK smiled and continued, in this year's college championship, with Steelheart and Blood Spider, our school has a very high chance of defending the title. Who will be the main player and who will be the substitute? In fact, there is not much difference. Everything is based on the opinions of the 2 absolute main players, Steelheart and Blood Spider. Does anyone have any opinions? Amaterasu smiled and nodded. I understand, we are just accessories, we fully understand and have no opinions. The others were silent, obviously accepting the reality that they were just accessories. In the face of Bai Pu's overwhelming strength, it no longer mattered who made the main lineup. Whoever came would win without effort. Even if the ant who cleaned the skull was brought in, she could win the championship with Bai Pu. In fact, these people had watched the video of the game and knew that Bai Pu was very strong. But watching the game is one thing, and playing in person is another. Only when facing Bai Pu can you feel the terrifying pressure of facing the mountain. It's like watching people play chess. always feeling that they are bad, but when you really play on the court, you find that your brain is overloaded. Bai Pu waited until teacher KK finished speaking, and said in a gentle tone, "Don't be discouraged, you are still very important. Without you, the game can't be held." Everyone. Teacher KK jumped out to pretend to be a good person. "This time we selected the main force for future considerations. Gang Xin is very busy. In the preliminaries and group stages, he will not play if he can, and will try to give everyone the opportunity to gain experience. Since Steelherd has tested everyone's strength, Captain Steelherd, please give us a few words about the next main selection." Everyone nodded silently. Bai Pu took the lead and sat on a wooden stool that teacher KK had diligently brought. He slowly said, "I am considered the tank, and Blood Spider is considered the agile warrior gas shooter. Based on everyone's current strength, it is unrealistic to rely on individual solo matches to win 4 consecutive games. If we only consider team battles, let's have an auxiliary first, Amaterasu." Amaterasu smiled and stood up, adjusted her kimono, and performed the etiquette of a Japanese lady to Bai Pu. Bai Pu then said, "There will also be a deputy tank. Mashin Jushi's zombie transformation is quite interesting. Although the 4-character code name is a bit difficult to pronounce, it's okay, you can be one." Mashin Jushi was overjoyed and quickly said, "Captain Steelherd. Boss Steelherd, you can just call me Xiaomo or Shaoshan." The last spot. Bai Pu's eyes moved. Chapter 421 Flower Sea and Goddess. Following Bai Pu's words, several team members who had not been called pricked up their ears nervously. Especially Bo Jiu, he was conceited that he was a level 4 hero profession. He was originally a member of the Iron main lineup, and he was thinking about further improving his strength in the future, and competing with Bai Pu for the captain's position. But now he was ruthlessly suppressed by Bai Pu, and he could only hide his little thoughts. Now he just hoped to enter the main lineup and get a college championship. Several other melee members also had thoughts. Although they were not as strong as Bo Jiu's template, they were at a higher level. Maybe they would be selected by Captain Gangxin's discerning eyes. Only Shiyi shrank back obediently. She was only level 3 now, and was only an elite template. No one in the school team was weaker than her, and she didn't think she would be selected. She just shrank behind the crowd, looking at Bai Pu's face, and daydreaming. Bai Pu's eyes froze. For the last main force, you have to choose between Bojiu and Shiyi. Strictly speaking, you both still need to be ready. Bojiu, your level is too low, you need to be at least level 5. Shiyi, how far are you from 100% of level 3 in experience? Shiyi felt nervous as if he was distracted in class and was called by the teacher, and quickly said, "It's still about 20% away." 20%, one exploration of the spirit world, or finding a training type junction should be enough. Bai Pu said, "After you are fully prepared, try the second transformation. If you succeed in the second transformation and are promoted to the level 4 hero profession, you can enter the main lineup." Bojiu couldn't help but say, "Captain Gangxin, I'm already a level 4 hero now." Bai Pu said lightly, "Wait until Shiyi's second transformation, and you are promoted to level 5, you will know after a fight." Bojiu was silent. He complained in his heart, "Do you think it's so easy to be promoted to the hero profession after the second transformation? Anyone can break through?" Teacher KK looked at the field. The players were all obedient to Bai Pu. Even though Bai Pu obviously showed that he looked at Shiyi differently, no one dared to protest seriously. She sighed in her heart. As expected, the bigger the fist, the more power to speak. Bai Pu solved the problem that had been bothering her for a week with just 3 punches and 2 kicks. Teacher KK said, "Gangxin, I want to apply for a training field for the school team in Giant Fern Mountain." "No problem, you go to Liling to connect. After the negotiation, I will open the permissions." Bai Pu did not say anything about free. Talking about money hurts feelings, and talking about feelings hurts money. Teacher KK did not mention it. She knew that Bai Pu and Zuzu were willing to stay because the school promised to give Bai Pu and Zuzu spiritual world tickets and other training resources. They were begging Bai Pu to stay. The most important thing now is not to make Bai Pu unhappy. After the main lineup was finalized, Bai Pu waved to Shiyi and said, "Classmate Shiyi, come here." Shiyi's cheeks flushed and he ran to Bai Pu. "Long time no see." "Well, long time no see." Shiyi fiddled with the corner of his clothes. The other members of the school team pricked up their ears. It seemed that there was an affair. But Teacher KK was very sensible and pulled everyone to retreat. Bai Pu didn't have any thoughts about Shi Yi. Although Shi Yi looked cute and had the feeling of a spirited girl, desire and love were completely inferior to the attraction of stepping into the peak of evolution and exploring the mysteries of psychic energy for Bai Pu. The reason why Bai Pu remembered Shi Yi so deeply was that Shi Yi got rid of his wrist grab. Bai Pu's combat expertise has already been trained to level 7, and with the help of the limit breaker, it has reached level 8. Facing the level 3 Shi Yi, it should have been absolutely suppressed. Once Shi Yi made a move, there was no possibility of dodging or evasion. But Shi Yi seemed to have turned into an invisible and immaterial light at that time, and it slipped through Bai Pu's fingers. "What skill did you use to dodge my grab just now?" Bai Pu asked. "I don't know, I just got nervous, my mind went blank, and then it was like this." Shi Yi's little face flushed red. "Try again." Bai Pu got Shi Yi's consent and attacked again. Shi Yi felt the embarrassment of having nowhere to hide again, but this time, she failed to escape and was held by Bai Pu's wrist. "Try again." Bai Pu was a little dissatisfied. After trying for more than 10 times, Shi Yi failed to replicate the magical escape at that time. She was so nervous that she almost cried. Forget it, maybe the time is not right. Bai Pu was not too demanding. Even he himself had some doubts. Is Shi Yi really the so-called reincarnation of the gods? As for the magical dance-like body movements that Shi Yi occasionally showed, it was a mutant 3-star skill of hers, called Secret Dance. When performing this body movement, the dodge value and instantaneous sprint speed will be increased by 10. Points. This is already quite amazing. Bai Pu asked Shi Yi about the process of understanding the mutant skills, and the result also made him speechless. Shi Yi said, "I had a dream. I dreamed that I was dancing at a festival, and there was a grand sea of flowers there. I seemed to be called a goddess. After waking up, the original 2-star combat skill Fast Shadow disappeared, and there was a mutant skill like this." Shi Yi blushed a little. It was too embarrassing to tell others about this goddess dream. "Well, God chased me and fed me, that's it." Bai Pu waved his hand and stopped asking. He felt that even if Shi Yi was not the reincarnation of the gods, she was at least a genius with amazing understanding. Bai Pu informed Li Ling that a training ground had been built for the Zai Polytechnic School team in the Giant Fern Mountain Plain. The training ground is located on the edge of the Giant Fern Mountain Range. The concentration of psychic particles is quite high. Of course, compared with the lava platform of the Giant Fern volcano in the core area, which is the location of Bai Pu's training hut, the concentration is lower. The lava platform and the ancient dragon tomb are currently designated as restricted areas. In addition to Bai Pu himself, there are also relatives and friends trusted by Bai Pu who can enter. Others are not allowed to enter. Days passed, and time came to March. Bai Pu clicked on the roulette lottery. The last roulette draw was in mid-December, and the draw was for the B-level reputation roulette. Bai Pu had originally held high hopes for the draw, but his luck was as bad as the one in September. He did not draw any particularly rare prizes, but drew 12 blue enhancement crystals. 12 blue enhancement crystals are worth tens of thousands of spiritual energy points. It is not that it has no effect on Bai Pu, but Bai Pu is no longer short of such things. Since the last draw, Bai Pu has not bothered to maintain his reputation. He has been broadcasting and practicing normally, and even refused to release the Steel Heart Intermediate character card that players have called for. But even so, Bai Pu's reputation has remained stable at B level, famous, hovering around 1,500 points. This shows that Bai Pu is not a fleeting meteor. After winning the top scorer in the college entrance examination and the champion of the university, and after seizing the junction of the Giant Fern Mountain and resolving the Beast Tide crisis from the root, he has won positive publicity. Bai Pu's reputation is now comparable to that of a well-known player in the A-level league. Chapter 422 Immortal King 4-piece set. Beep. The sound of a video call rang on Bai Pu's watch. Bai Pu glanced at the number and saw it was Li Ling. "What's the matter? Gang Xin, didn't you ask me to help you keep an eye out for the props to strengthen the leader's treasure chest last time? I have some clues here." Li Ling, who was wearing a small suit in the video, was very formal. She sent Bai Pu a screenshot. High energy scanner, B-level silver prop. After use, it can scan the loot treasure chest below the Lord level, excluding the Lord level, but the loot card itself will not leave any mark. It disappears after use. Bai Pu was refreshed. Where did it come from? Does the other party have a transaction demand? Li Ling replied, the other party only wants psychic points, and the asking price is 100,000. 100,000 psychic points is a sky-high price for many awakened people. 100,000 psychic points is fine. But when you negotiate, pay attention to the strategy a little bit, don't let the other party suddenly regret it and raise the price. Bai Pu said. Li Ling nodded in understanding, don't worry, I have experience in this area. After hanging up the video call, Bai Pu's mood became much better. Soon he will be able to open the treasure chest of King Christian IV of Denmark and draw the Danish royal family's inherited battle axe, Asrat. This inherited battle axe itself is nothing, but it may bring Bai Pu benefits related to the talent tree like the rune tablet. With a happy mood, Bai Pu clicked on the fame wheel, level B, and directly drew. Swish, the pointer turned quickly, and after Bai Pu called for a stop, it slowly stopped. Finally, the pointer pointed to the equipment area. You have obtained equipment, steam-powered bionic gloves. The light dissipated, and a pair of gloves floated in front of Bai Pu. This pair of gloves, like a human hand, is very thin, and only on the back of the hand and the knuckles, it shines with a delicate metallic luster. Bai Pu pressed his palm on it, and the properties of the gloves were immediately revealed. Steam-powered bionic boxing gloves, encapsulated, equipment quality, heroic, gold, equipment requirements, basic strength 30, basic endurance 30, equipment location, hand, attributes, strength +8, hand armor +20, additional skills, steam power, passive, when attacking with bare hands, the attack power is increased by an additional 15 points, and the strength judgment of throws is +15. Active activation can send out a steam punch, causing moderate damage and destroying the target's shield. Cooldown time 12 hours. Durability 60/60. Description: steam and steel are more advanced than flesh and blood. This equipment is obviously more suitable for unarmed warrior monks, fighters and other professions. Bai Pu thought of a person in his mind, that is Quang Chan. Quang Chan could have been Bai Pu's friend, but his ambition to revive the Su family destined him to not be able to travel with Bai Pu. Bai Pu equipped himself with this pair of gloves. Apart from anything else, the +8 strength alone is an amazing improvement. Anyway, this thing has bionic skin, which does not affect Bai Pu's use of weapons and equipment. It's just that when using weapons, there is no bonus for unarmed attacks. My limited wish bag is valid for about 10 days. I still haven't got the rest of the Immortal King suit. Maybe I can only wish for one suit part when I make a wish. Bai Pu now has a lot of pyrotechnics, which is more than enough to upgrade the base material of the suit. However, when Bai Pu tried to upgrade, he received a reminder from the spirit world that the Immortal King suit must be collected after 4 sets are completed before the base material can be upgraded. Bai Pu can only find a way to buy it, but unfortunately Li Ling asked several forces that have parts of the Immortal King suit, and they either duplicated the 3 pieces that Bai Pu already had, or regarded them as not for sale and were also collecting them. There are 2 non-duplicate ones, in addition to the Immortal King's Iron Chest Guard, in the hands of the Superstar Alliance Zalao. There is also a Immortal King's Iron Greaves. But the Superstar Alliance will definitely not trade with Bai Pu, whether it is in terms of grudges or restrictions on the gods. Another faction that possesses the Iron Greaves of the Immortal King currently has 4 sets of suit parts, which are being worn by a high-level awakener, and it is impossible to trade it to Bai Pu. Suddenly, within Bai Pu's vision, a message from the spirit world came. Your teammate, Blood Spider, is trying to summon you to her current world, Heart Demon, Great Wild River World. According to the spiritual points paid by Blood Spider, the validity period of this transmission is 8 hours. Within 8 hours, you can open the transmission channel to the Heart Demon, Great Wild River World, and only you can pass through. 8 hours? It doesn't seem urgent. Bai Pu and Blood Spider had an agreement that if it was an emergency, the shortest validity period would be chosen, which is 30 minutes. If you see a 30-minute validity period, it means that Blood Spider has encountered a very powerful enemy chasing him, and there is no time to delay. Bai Pu will respond to the transmission immediately, without even time to deal with real affairs, and at most leave a note for Li Ling. Now that there is an 8-hour validity period, it is not so urgent. At least Blood Spider is not in danger of life in the short term. Bai Pu thought for a moment, took out the limited wishes bag, and chose to use it directly. He reached into the bag and imagined a piece of equipment in his mind. The bag was shining. Bai Pu's palm touched something, and he suddenly took it out. Suddenly, the limited wishes bag turned into a stream of particles like light smoke and dissipated. Bai Pu's hand radiated green light, and there was an extra piece of equipment. Iron greaves of the Immortal King, encapsulated, equipment quality, green, set, equipment requirements, basic strength 40, equipment location, foot, attributes, foot armor plus 30, movement speed plus 7, strength plus 4, endurance plus 8, additional skill 1, unshakable, passive, the wearer gains a 25 strength judgment bonus, passive, additional skill 2, earth shattering, the wearer stomps heavily on the ground, causing a cracking effect on the surrounding ground, which lasts for 30 seconds. Enemies within the range of the earth shattering will continue to suffer shock damage. Cooldown time 12 hours. Durability 80/80. Description: the mountains are flattened, the oceans are dried up, but I am immortal. This pair of shoes is different from the other 3 suit parts I already have. Bai Pu saw at a glance that the equipment required 40 points of basic strength, and the additional attributes were significantly improved, and the durability was also much higher, reaching the level of excellent equipment produced by the advanced spirit world. Obviously, the base material of this pair of shoes is definitely not ordinary. It may be a top-quality base material. It is equivalent to being directly upgraded by the pyrotechnics. After all, the limited wish bag is 185 points of wish power, which is equivalent to 185,000 spiritual energy points. According to the conservative style of the spirit worlds will to estimate the price of equipment, the price of a green suit must be less than 185,000 spiritual energy points. So the base material quality of the suit was improved. Since the requirements of the 4-piece suit have been met, the other 3 suits will be upgraded with the pyrotechnics together, as long as the time does not exceed 8 hours. This is the 3rd update to make up for yesterday. Chapter 423 High Energy Scan. Bai Pu had already checked the upgrade of the pyroclastic stone. There was no need for a secondary occupation such as a blacksmith to operate. All he needed to do was to provide enough pyroclastic stones to the spirit world along with the equipment. Bai Pu took out 3 sets of suits and checked the number of base materials required to upgrade. Current equipment base material, ordinary. The current set has 4 pieces, which meets the conditions for the set upgrade. To upgrade the base materials of the current 3 sets to the best, you need to provide 180 pieces of pyroclastic stones. It takes 120 minutes to upgrade the set. The equipment being upgraded cannot be worn. Bai Pu asked, "Can I preview the upgraded equipment data?" Based on your military rank, you can preview the display pictures of the upgraded equipment in advance. Soon, the display pictures of the 3 sets were sent to Bai Pu. Sure enough, the additional attributes of the upgraded set are the same as Iron Greaves of the Immortal King, with a total of 12 points of attributes. Moreover, as the best base materials, these sets will increase the armor of the relevant parts by 30 points after upgrading. The skills have also been enhanced. For example, the additional skill, Strong Wrist, of Immortal King's Iron Wrist Guard, increases the strength judgment value by +20 and the attack power by +20 when holding the weapon with both hands. The original strengthening +4 special effect is still retained, so the total attack power increased by Strong Wrist becomes 30 points. The additional skill, Expand, of Immortal King's Iron Waist Guard, expands the original volume of 10 cubic meters to 20 cubic meters. The additional skill, Strong Enemy Sensing, of Immortal King's Iron Horn Helmet, will sense the comprehensive combat power value of the target enemy based on the strength of the wearer. Bai Pu asked, if lava pyroxenemy is used to upgrade, what additional effects will there be? Each piece of equipment requires 60 pieces of lava pyroxenemy to be upgraded. Other types of pyroxenemy cannot be mixed. After upgrading with lava pyroxenemy, the suit armor will increase your fire resistance by 30 points. The suit weapon will increase fire damage by 30 points. Obviously, lava pyroxenemy is best used to upgrade weapons. Whether in terms of versatility or numerical calculation, 30 points of fire damage is much more useful than 30 points of fire resistance. However, Bai Pu still chose to upgrade all of them with lava pyroxene stone. The reason is simple. Bai Pu estimated that he would use this 4-piece set until the late stage of the Awakener stage, so he was willing to invest. Bai Pu chose to upgrade, and 180 pieces of lava pyroxene stone shot out like a red waterfall. emitting red light, and wrapped all three of his suits. Iron greaves, which are already the best base material, can also use lava pyroxene stone. Tried 30 points of fire resistance. Bai Pu asked. Based on the characteristics of suit resonance, you can do this. But the base material of this equipment will not be improved at all, and the original attributes and skills remain unchanged. Bai Pu understood that because iron greaves of the Immortal King and the three pieces of equipment being upgraded belong to the same suit, there is a so-called suit resonance relationship between them, so they can be added. When you collect the fifth and sixth pieces of the suit in the future, you can also do this to add fire resistance. As for other equipment, there is no suit resonance effect, so there is no way to operate this way. Think about it, the amount of pyroxene required to upgrade a suit is twice that of gold equipment, so it is reasonable to have such special treatment. Bai Pu looked at the remaining lava pyroxene, and there were more than 130 pieces left. No problem, just go for it. After all, it is the equipment that will be used until graduation. Another 60 pieces of lava pyroxene flew out. Bai Pu simply took the Blood Mist Butcher's Chainsaw Sword to upgrade. This weapon is produced in the intermediate plane and is a rare base material. After upgrading to top quality base material, the attack power will also be greatly improved, and only 20 pieces of lava pyroxene are needed. As for getting better equipment to replace it in the future, it is unknown how long it will take. Strengthening the current combat power and preparing for the test of the professional plane can be regarded as a proper use. During the equipment upgrade, Li Ling came to the junction of the giant fern mountain and found Bai Pu. It's done. Li Ling took out the high-energy scanner, which was a small monocle. She smiled and said, "My bargaining ability is not bad." In the end, it was reduced to 60,000. Bai Pu gave a thumbs up and said, "I'll give you 25% commission." After saving 40,000 spiritual energy points, it is reasonable to give Li Ling 10,000. Li Ling shook her head and refused. Her heroic eyes were shining. It was unknown what she was thinking. Bai Pu took the prop. After obtaining this prop, you can check the detailed instructions. Once the scan is turned on, the whole process from opening the treasure chest to generating cards from the items in the treasure chest will be seen through. The scan will not end until the moment it flies out. During this process, as long as the awakened person keeps staring at it with full concentration, does not get dazzled, and remembers the card he wants, there will be basically no mistakes. After using it once, the chip of the high-energy scanner will burn out due to the load, and the entire prop will dissipate into particles. Bai Pu put on a monocle, took out the treasure chest of the King of Denmark, and opened it carefully. At the same time, the high-energy scanner was turned on. A beam of invisible rays swept out, and an amazing change suddenly occurred in Bai Pu's field of vision. The obstruction of the treasure chest seemed to disappear. If you continue to stare at it, you can see the outlines of the items one by one, including a crown, armor, shirts, whips and other sundries, as well as the axe that Bai Pu had been thinking about. Why are there two axes? Exclamation mark. Bai Pu sweated. Obviously, the Danish king carries two weapons with him. One is the inherited battle axe SRAT, which is only used when encountering a strong enemy. The other is probably also a good gold equipment, which is a normal weapon equipped at ordinary times. The size and weight of the two axes are similar. Fortunately, Bai Pu has a strong memory and remembers the details of SRAT's battle axe clearly. The Danish blacksmith's workmanship is not so meticulous, and he does not pursue the appearance to be exactly the same as SRAT. When the items turned into cards and flew out with a whistling sound, Bai Pu's eyes not only stared at the inherited battle axe SRAT, but also had the space to scan other things. After all, he had two chances to draw. This shape looks like the crown of Christian IV. Bai Pu silently memorized it, his eyes staring at two objects at the same time, rising in the rotation, and then merging into the 56 crisscrossing loot cards. Li Ling wanted to ask did you remember it, but was afraid of disturbing Bai Pu. His fists were clenched so hard that knuckles turned white. He was even more nervous than Bai Pu. Fortunately, Bai Pu didn't like to tease people. After the loot cards were decided, he stretched out his finger and clicked on the third card in the first row. Swish, a simple Viking battle axe appeared in front of him. Yet, Li Ling waved his fist to celebrate. Bai Pu then clicked on the first card in the fourth row. The golden light flipped, and a crown appeared in front of him. Chapter 424 Immortal Set, 4 pieces. Bai Pu went to see the battle axe immediately. SRAT, An ancient Viking battle axe, a weapon inherited from the Danish royal family. Only a brave warrior with the direct blood of Oldenburg can use this battle axe and stimulate the power of his ancestors. Well, even the data panel that a weapon should have is incomplete, with only the final description information. If an ordinary awakener tries to use this battle axe, it cannot be blessed by the power of Asrat, and can only play a slightly better role than a firestick, that is, to exert the attack power of the battle axe itself. Bai Pu is no exception. However, when Bai Pu touched this ancient and brutal battle axe, his heart was beating faster, and the talent of the Heart of Evolution also sent a message in time. I have sensed the legend points that can be absorbed. Do you want to absorb them? Warning: if you choose to absorb, the Asrat inheritance battle axe will be completely damaged. Bai Pu was a little surprised. He thought that this battle axe, like the rune tablet, was an item that helped him open the next level of the talent tree. Unexpectedly, the battle axe is only a legendary point. Come to think of it, if the battle axe can open the third level of the talent tree, it will be a level higher than the rune tablet, dropped by Emperor Gustav, which does not conform to the style of the will of the spirit world. Without saying anything, Bai Pu directly chose to absorb. According to the prompt of the will of the spirit world, he dripped a drop of pure blood on the axe. The pure blood seeped into it, and soon it seeped out again and crawled back to Bai Pu's fingertips. Looking at Asrat again, the battle axe did not change on the surface, but the vicissitudes and heavy feeling from history disappeared completely. It looks like an ordinary axe, with rare materials at most. To put it in an analogy, it is like the soul of the battle axe has been sucked away, leaving only an empty shell. As the pure blood flowed back into the body, Bai Pu also received further prompts. You have obtained 1 legendary point. The current accumulated legendary points. 2. Only 1 legendary point. Legendary points are really not easy to get. Bai Pu sighed. Think about the legendary points that Bai Pu has accumulated. Changing the fate of the flesh plague, the distortion world will earn you 1 point. Obtaining the biggest secret of the flesh plague, the distortion world, the origin heart will earn you 1 point. Reaching S level, above 10,000, in the flesh plague, the distortion world will earn you 1 point. None of the legendary points are easy to get. Thinking about it this way, getting 1 legendary point from the treasure chest of the King of Denmark is actually the easiest at present. Now Bai Pu has accumulated 2 legendary points. As long as he gets 1 more point, he can light up the key talent option of the 2nd level, Source Lord Advent. This little legendary point can only be found in the new spirit world plane. The world of the heart demon, Great Wilderness River? You can try it. Bai Pu exhaled and handed the empty shell battle axe of Asrat to Li Ling. Please help me pass it to the anvil to see if the material of this axe can be smelted. I think it is made of rare metals. Maybe I can get some mithril or fine gold. Li Ling agreed and took the battle axe and put it into the storage space. Luckily I got the battle axe. I didn't expect that there were 2 similar axes in the treasure chest of the King of Denmark. If it were another awakener, there might be a 50% chance of missing it. Bai Pu said with a smile. Li Ling blinked. You have 2 draws. If you can't tell them apart, can't you just choose both axes? Bai Pu was stunned. It's true. It can only be said that Bai Pu has a strong observation and memory, and is confident enough to determine which one is the accurate battle axe, so he didn't even consider choosing both. The best solution is definitely to choose the accurate battle axe and another high-value loot. Li Ling held back his laughter and said seriously, I heard a story about Newton, a great scientist in the AD era, who dug holes in the wall for his cats and dogs to facilitate their entry and exit. Newton dug 2 holes in the wall, one large and one small, the large one for the dog and the small one for the cat. As a result, the neighbor came over and said, can't cats go through the big hole like dogs? Bai Pu smiled and shook his head. He had heard this story before. Look at the second item I drew. Hey, it's not equipment. Crown of Christian IV, valuable. Used with any spirit world ticket, it can increase your ticket level by 1 level, up to S level, limited to the intermediate spirit world plane. You can also sell it to the spirit world and get 50,000 spiritual energy points. The gems inlaid on the crown are dazzling. Bai Pu couldn't help but wonder if he could pry the gems on this crown off and inlay them on the broken dark gold crown of domination. But thinking about it, Bai Pu still didn't try. Ticket level +1 has the largest bonus for high-level tickets, that is, A-level tickets. The increase from A level to S level tickets is amazing. This crown makes Bai Pu feel that his mental labor is meaningful. From the perspective of use, it means much more to Bai Pu than an ordinary gold equipment. Bai Pu put the crown away first to see if he can use it in the future. Soon, Bai Pu's 5 pieces of equipment were all upgraded. First up is the Blood Mist Butcher's Chainsaw Sword, which has been upgraded from a rare base material to premium base material. The basic attack power has been increased from 1530 to 2040, and the attack power enhancement range after +8 has also been increased synchronously, and is now 4590. Fixed armor penetration has been increased from 30 points to 40 points. The armor value damaged by the additional skill, cutting, has also been increased from 30 points to 40 points, each time. In addition, 30 points of fire damage are added, each attack. Bai Pu knows that adding 30 points of fire damage does not mean weapon attack power plus 30. Weapon attack power is a basic attack power that is amplified by a series of factors such as combat expertise and secrets, and has a very high gold content. On the other hand, the 30 points of fire damage added is a separate 30 points of fire damage added after all damage amplifications have been calculated, and does not enjoy any amplification enhancement effects. Next, it is the 4-piece set of the Immortal King. As in the preview, the other 3 Immortal King suits with upgraded base materials are all the same as Immortal King's Iron Greaves, with a total additional attribute of 12 points, some with 4 points of strength and 8 points of endurance, and some with 8 points of strength and 4 points of endurance. After Bai Pu put them on, the effects of the 4 suits also appeared. Immortal King Suit, 2 pieces, increase your basic strength by 10, basic endurance by 10, 4 pieces, Ancestral Blessing. After activation, summon the Ghost of the Ancestor to join the battlefield. The Ghost of the Ancestor will bear 50% of the damage you take for 60 seconds. The cooldown time of this suit effect is 1 Earth Day. Chapter 425, Dao Hongquan, Flame Sword Princess. After collecting all 4 pieces of the Immortal King suit, Bai Pu was quite satisfied with the effect. The 50% damage reduction provided by Ancestral Blessing further strengthened Bai Pu's survivability when facing strong enemies. After all, no one would think that they had too many damage reduction skills. Of course, this damage reduction effect is multiplied with other percentage damage reduction abilities, not cumulative. This is the general rule of the spirit world's will. Otherwise, it is not realistic to achieve 100% damage reduction with Ancestral Blessing plus Adaptive Evolution. But Bai Pu can reduce the physical damage caused by the enemy to less than 36 points after multiple percentage damage reductions, and then the fixed physical damage reduction of Skin of Steel is enough to reduce this final damage value and cannot break the defense. The Immortal King suit upgrade, the original 2-piece bonus, seems to have not changed, but in fact the bonus attribute has become the basic attribute. The basic attribute is not ordinary, which allows Bai Pu to use other equipment more easily. Of course, Bai Pu's overall attributes have also been greatly improved. Bai Pu's total attributes are now Strength 119, 59, Agility 65, 34, Endurance 123, 65, Spirit 54, 39, Fully armed. Bai Pu briefly spoke to Li Ling, checked the items in the storage space, and chose to respond to Blood Spider's team call. In the void, the shadows of 3 arrows condensed. They were the props for Bai Pu and Blood Spider to build a team. Under the cover of the arrow shadows, Bai Pu's figure turned into white light and slowly faded and disappeared. This time it was based on the call of teammates and cut into the spirit world halfway. Therefore, there was no matching process at the beginning, and there was no routine introduction to the spirit worlds while after entering the world. Fortunately, Bai Pu can still use spiritual points to purchase services such as changing appearance and clothing to make them more in line with the plain style and purchasing languages. Detected that you have been to the Heart Demon world. Do you want to continue using your previous identity? Bai Pu decisively chose yes. He and Dong Bo Changzi are good friends, which is an important help for him in this world. And there is another advantage to continuing to use the previous identity. Bai Pu no longer needs to obtain the Oath Seal. He already has the Zuan Wu Oath. After the feeling of weightlessness disappeared, Bai Pu looked around. The familiar dark sky, no stars, only half a dark yellow moon. The wind around was blowing gently, and the willow branches and reeds were rustling, which gave a gloomy feeling. Fortunately, Bai Pu appeared next to the Blood Spider. The blood spider was fighting, of course, not a fierce battle, but the simplest monster spawning. Two monsters with strange appearances fell in front of the blood spider. "You are here." The blood spider had a happy face, picked up the blue treasure chest dropped by one of the monsters, and trotted to Bai Pu. "Well, what's the situation now? Why did you summon me?" Bai Pu asked. "This is the world of Heart Demon, Great Wild River. On the map of the continent, it belongs to the southeast region, and it is also the border of Blue Dragon Pledge and Vermilion Bird Pledge." In front of Bai Pu, Blood Spider obviously had no social anxiety and spoke very frequently, and soon made Bai Pu understand the current situation. Great Wild River is the collective name for the river basins of the two rivers that meet in the Heart Demon continent. It is like the Yangtze River and the Yellow River in Asia in the real world, which meet horizontally and vertically on the map. The two rivers extend out large areas of wasteland and swamp terrain, collectively known as Great Wild River. The Black Swamp in the Heart Demon Pledge World area is just a piece of demonic land extending from the Great Wild River in the northern Zhuangwu Mountains. The Black Emperor of the Black Swamp is not the demon leader of the entire Heart Demon world, but one of the 4 demon emperors. It is said that the 4 emperors have been accumulating strength in sleep, preparing for the arrival of the demon ancestor, Great Dark Sky. On the day when the black sky descends, the blood moon will forever block the sunlight, and the world will fall into an eternal sleep. The area that the blood spider cut into this time is the southwest middle and lower reaches of the Great Wilderness River, which belongs to the border of the Dongbo family and the Zhu family. The demon emperor who rules the Flame Mountain in the southwest basin of the Great Wilderness River is called Red Emperor. Unlike the Black Emperor in the Black Swamp, the Red Emperor has been in a state of awakening, but it has not found a warrior's flesh shell that fits its demon body, so it has been unable to walk out of the Flame Mountain. The demon commanders under the Red Emperor have been walking in the world, looking for a suitable body for the Red Emperor. Of course, the Red Emperor is not staying in the Flame Mountain. It manipulates the magic energy to continuously erode and expand the area of the Flame Mountain. Today, the Flame Mountain has expanded outward by hundreds of kilometers, severely compressing the living space of the Dongbo family and the Zhu family. As 2 of the 4 great oaths, although there is a competitive relationship, the 2 families can still help each other when the demons are strong. They jointly built a demon-subduing city on the southwest border, with a large number of ghost warriors stationed there, and regularly entered the Flame Mountain to eliminate demons. The more demons are eliminated, the less demonic energy there is in the Flame Mountain, and they have to shrink inward. Of course, eliminating demons in the Flame Mountain is much more dangerous than in the Black Swamp, because the demon body of the Red Emperor may come at any time. What's worse is that an awakener from the demon camp has done a continuous task and found a warrior suitable for carrying the demon body of the Red Emperor. Blood Spider said at last. "Is this true? What is the identity of that warrior?" Bai Pu was surprised. "This is incredible. With the flesh shell of a warrior carrying the demon body, the Red Emperor can become a real demon man and appear outside the Flame Mountain in a dignified manner, completely breaking the balance of the world of the Great Wilderness River, and then causing turmoil in the entire world of the Heart Demon. The awakeners of the demon camp are really amazing. What many demon commanders can't do, they have done in such a short period of spiritual exploration." Blood Spider said quickly. "That warrior is the daughter of the leader of the Nanzhou Fengxin school. Her name is unknown, but we know that her title is Flame Sword Princess. She is the leader of the new generation of ghost warriors in the Nanzhou Fengxin school." "Flame Sword Princess, where's she now?" Bai Pu asked. "In the demon-subduing city," said Blood Spider. Bai Pu asked curiously, "Why doesn't she go to the rear? If she hides in the base camp of the Nanzhou Fengxin school, the demons should have no chance to take advantage. The awakeners in the Guardian camp have a low reputation, and their words are not taken seriously by the indigenous strongmen." Blood Spider was a little distressed. At present, they are only skeptical about the statement that Flame Blade Princess is the flesh shell of the Red Emperor. Flame Blade Princess is very proud. Without solid evidence, she refuses to leave the demon-subduing city. After a pause, Blood Spider continued, "However, the efforts of the awakeners are not without effect. The Zhu family sent several leader-level ghost warriors to help, including the head of the Zhu family, the head of the Nanzhou Fengxin school, Zuk. Did the Dongbo family send warriors to help?" Bai Pu was most concerned about Dongbo Changzi. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like, Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.